Hey everyone, I'm Megan. Growing up, I always felt like I was living in my sister Lily's shadow. No matter how hard I worked, how much I studied, or how many trophies I won, it seemed like I was invisible. Lily was always the favorite, the golden child, and my parents never let me forget that. In high school, I was at the top of my class and the captain of the track team. You'd think that would get me some recognition, right? Wrong. Every family dinner was all about Lily, her bakery projects, her weekend plans. If I tried to talk about my day, I'd get a half-hearted "that's nice, Megan," and then the conversation would go right back to Lily. It wasn't just annoying, it hurt deeply. To deal with it, I decided to focus on myself. I studied even harder, and when the time came, I earned a full scholarship to college. My best friend's dad, seeing what was going on at home, offered to help with any extra expenses. Honestly, he's been more of a father to me than my real dad ever was. One day, as I was packing for college, my mom walked into my room. She had that look on her face, the one she uses when she's about to ask for something. "Megan, we need to talk," she said, sitting on the edge of my bed. "What is it?" I asked, not looking up from my packing. "It's about Lily," she started. "Her bakery isn't doing well, and we've had to make some tough financial decisions to keep it running." I stopped packing and turned to face her. "What does that have to do with me?" "We've taken out a third mortgage on the house," she admitted, "and we're struggling to keep up. We need you to reconsider your scholarship, maybe stay home and help out with the family business." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. After all these years of them not investing in my future, now they wanted me to give up my dreams for Lily? "No," I said, standing firm. "I've worked too hard for this. I'm going to college." The rest of the conversation was a blur of yelling and crying. My dad called me selfish. Lily said I was ruining her life, but I didn't back down. The day I left for college finally arrived. As I packed my car, I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I was finally leaving, finally starting my own life on my own terms. As I drove away, I didn't look back. I knew the road ahead wouldn't be easy, but for the first time, it was mine to control. It was a chilly fall evening, the kind of night that makes you appreciate being indoors. I was in my dorm, halfway through writing a sociology paper, when my phone rang. The screen showed my mom's name, and I felt a knot tighten in my stomach. I hadn't spoken to my parents since I left, and I wasn't eager to start now, but curiosity got the best of me, and I answered. "Hello? Megan, we need to talk." My mom's voice sounded strained, heavier than usual. "It's about the family." I took a deep breath, trying to steady myself. "What's going on?" "It's your sister's business. It's failing, Megan. We've tried everything, but it's just not working. We're in trouble." For a moment, I felt bad for Lily, but that feeling was quickly overshadowed by the fear of what they might ask from me. "I'm sorry to hear that, but I don't see how." "We took out a third mortgage to save the bakery," she interrupted. She cut in, her voice desperate. "We're drowning in debt, and we need your help." The words hit me hard. Not only had they risked everything for Lily's bakery, but now they expected me to fix it. "What exactly are you asking me to do?" I asked, though I already knew the answer. "We need you to come home," Mom said plainly. "Put off school for a while, help with the finances and the bakery. We can't do this without you." I couldn't believe it. They wanted me to give up everything I had worked so hard for, everything I had left behind, to fix their mistakes. Anger boiled inside me, but I kept my voice calm. "No, Mom, I won't do that. I'm not leaving school." There was a long pause, the silence hanging heavily between us. Then Dad's voice came through, harsh and accusing. "You're just going to let your family fail after all we've done for you?" The irony of his words made me want to laugh. "All you've done? Seriously?" I said. "I'm here on a scholarship, Dad, one I earned with no help from you." Mom tried again, this time with a gentler tone. "Megan, please, think of it as helping your sister. You wouldn't want her to suffer, would you?" But I had had enough of their guilt trips. Lily needs to handle her own problems. I have my future to think about. "You're being incredibly selfish, Megan," Dad snapped. "You're part of this family whether you like it or not." "I am," I replied, "but I'm not sacrificing my dreams for Lily's mistakes. I'm sorry you're in this situation, but it's not my responsibility to fix it." The conversation ended not long after. Dad muttered something about being disappointed before hanging up. I sat there with my phone in my hand, feeling both relieved and alone. It was the first time I had stood up to them so clearly, and even though it hurt, it felt right. I tried to go back to my essay, but my mind was elsewhere. I knew this wasn't over, they would come back, try to guilt me again, but I was ready for it. For the first time in my life, I was truly ready to stand up for myself. It was just another Tuesday on campus, full of the usual noise and energy, students walking around between classes. I was at the student center, grabbing a coffee before my next lecture, when I felt a chill. Looking up, my heart dropped. Standing across the room were my parents and Lily, their faces grim. I hadn't expected them to come here, to my world. As they approached, I could feel the eyes of everyone around us, curious about the drama that was about to unfold. Mom was the first to speak, her voice loud enough to draw even more attention. "Megan, we need to talk, now." Taking a deep breath, I stood firm. "We can talk, but I'm not changing my mind." Dad's face flushed with anger. "You're really going to embarrass us like this in front of everyone?" I glanced around. "It seems you're doing a fine job of that yourselves," I replied, my voice steady even though my heart was racing. Then Lily chimed in, her tone dripping with mockery. "Look at Megan, everyone, too good for her own family now that she's a college girl." I clenched my fists, struggling to stay calm. "This isn't about being too good, Lily, it's about me living my life, not cleaning up your messes." The argument escalated quickly, voices rising. Mom started pleading, tears welling up in her eyes. "Megan, please, we're your family, you can't turn your back on us." "You turned your back on me a long time ago," I shot back, my voice shaking with anger, "when you decided that Lily's bakery was more important than my future." Dad scoffed and shook his head. "You're just jealous of Lily's success." I let out a bitter laugh. "Success? Is that what you call bankruptcy and taking out a third mortgage?" By now, everyone in the student center was staring, whispers spreading through the room. I felt the humiliation, but I couldn't let them control me anymore. "I am not responsible for Lily's failures. I am not responsible for your bad financial choices. I am only responsible for myself." Mom's voice cracked as she pleaded, "You're being selfish, Megan, when will you see that?" "No, Mom, I'm being sensible. You may not get that, but I have to look out for my own future, because it's obvious you won't." The argument reached its breaking point. Dad called me a disappointment, and Lily accused me of ruining the family. As they stormed out, Dad tossed a crumpled bill onto the table, not nearly enough to cover their order. It was just like them to leave a mess for me to clean up. As they left, their words hung heavily in the air. I felt the judgment from those who didn't understand, but among the stares, I noticed a few nods of support. Some people got it. I sat back down, my coffee cold and untouched, feeling both defeated and victorious. I realized then that standing up for myself might mean losing them, but maybe that was the price of finally being free. As the chatter around me resumed, I knew this was a turning point. There was no going back, only forward. After that confrontation with my family, I felt drained and emotionally raw. I needed comfort, so I headed to the one place where I always felt welcome, the little diner just off campus. The bell above the door jingled as I walked in, a familiar, comforting sound. The warm aroma of coffee and freshly baked pies wrapped around me, and for a moment, I felt at ease. Here, I wasn't the girl caught up in family drama, I was just Megan. I slid into my usual booth. Jenny, one of the diner's owners, noticed my troubled expression right away. She came over with a pot of coffee in hand, concern in her eyes. "Rough day?" she asked, pouring me a cup. I nodded, giving her a small, tired smile. "You could say that." Jenny sat across from me, her face full of sympathy. "You want to talk about it? Or I can just sit here and listen." Taking a deep breath, I told her everything, the surprise visit from my parents and Lily, the argument, their accusations, and how humiliated I felt in front of everyone. As I spoke, Jenny's frown deepened, her eyes reflecting a quiet anger on my behalf. "That's just not right, Megan," she said firmly. "You've been nothing but hardworking and kind. You don't deserve any of that." Just then, Tom, Jenny's husband and co-owner of the diner, joined us, carrying a plate of my favorite chocolate chip cookies. He slid the plate in front of me with a kind smile. "Heard a bit about what happened," he said. "You know, blood isn't always family. Sometimes it's the people who stand by you when the storm hits." His words, simple but heartfelt, struck a chord in me. Here were these two people, who hadn't known much about my personal struggles until now, showing more love and care than my own family had in years. Jenny gently squeezed my hand. "We're here for you, Megan, whatever you need. You're part of our diner family, and we look out for each other." Hearing that, I felt a warmth I hadn't felt in a long time, true belonging, and for the first time, I believed I didn't have to face everything alone. Tears welled up in my eyes, overwhelmed by Jenny and Tom's kindness and support. "Thank you, both of you," I said, my voice soft. "It means more than you know." As we continued talking, the warm atmosphere of the diner, the gentle clatter of dishes, the soft hum of conversation, slowly lifted my spirits. I was reminded that there were people who valued and appreciated me for who I truly was. Being with Jenny and Tom made me realize an important truth: family isn't just about blood, it's about the people who stand by you, who support you, and who believe in you. Their encouragement left me feeling renewed, and as I left the diner that evening, I felt a strong sense of purpose. The heavy burden of my family's expectations and criticism felt lighter, knowing I had people who believed in me, in my choices, and in my future. This newfound strength helped solidify my resolve to push forward with my education and life, determined to define success on my own terms. As I walked back to my dorm under the starry sky, I understood that while the road ahead might be lonely at times, I wasn't truly alone. Jenny and Tom had shown me that family can be chosen, and that support can come from unexpected places. Their kindness gave me a sense of belonging, and for that, I was deeply grateful. They taught me that choosing your family can bring peace and happiness that blood ties might not always provide. Months passed, each one bringing me closer to my goals. My grades were excellent. I was actively involved in key campus activities, and I had secured an internship that promised a bright future. As I thrived both academically and personally, I felt a strong sense of pride and accomplishment, one that was entirely my own. This new chapter of my life was filled with independence and support from friends and mentors who genuinely believed in my potential. One crisp morning, while scrolling through the news on my phone before class, a headline caught my attention. It was about Lily's Bakery. The article detailed a major health scandal, unsanitary conditions, and multiple violations that had gone unchecked for too long. The fallout was disastrous. The bakery had been shut down, and the media frenzy that followed ruined the family's reputation beyond repair. Sitting in the quiet of the library, I was flooded with a complicated mix of emotions. I took no pleasure in seeing Lily and my parents suffer, but there was a grim sense of inevitability about it. Their reckless decisions, years of bending rules and prioritizing Lily at all costs, had finally caught up with them. It was a stark reminder of just how far I had distanced myself from that world of chaos and neglect. In the weeks that followed, news of their financial collapse spread throughout town. My parents had invested everything into the bakery, ignoring their other responsibilities and even their own well-being. Now, with the business gone, they were left with nothing but debts and regrets. It was a harsh reality that my family had to face alone, one they had brought upon themselves. Despite the chaos unfolding back home, my life on campus was thriving. I often thought about the stark difference between my steady rise and their dramatic fall. But it wasn't just about money or reputation, it was about integrity, making choices that reflected my values and ambitions. I had chosen a path of hard work and honesty, breaking free from the toxic environment that had dominated my past. One evening, while discussing my future with my mentor, Professor Hawkins, he said something that stuck with me. "Megan, it's not just about surviving the storm," he mused, "it's about learning to dance in the rain." His words hit home. Yes, I had been through a lot. But more importantly, I had grown from it. I had created a life defined by my own successes and the community I had built around me, not by the failures of my family. As I walked back to my dorm that night, the soft glow of the streetlights lit my path, and I felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The struggles with my family now felt like a distant storm, its echoes barely reaching me. In its place was a quiet confidence in my own abilities and decisions. I knew challenges would come, but I was equipped to face them with the support and strength I had gained. My family's downfall, while sad, was a direct result of their own choices, missteps that had led to their collapse. But I was building something different, something real, sustainable, and true to who I was. As I closed the door to my room, a smile crossed my face. It was the smile of someone who had not only survived, but thrived. I had taken control of my own destiny and was ready to embrace whatever the future had in store, with an unshakable spirit. That's the end of Megan's story. What would you have done in her situation? Would you have made the same decisions? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this.
I stare at the half-empty closet, counting the empty hangers like Morse code signals spelling out disaster. 15 years of marriage reduced to the rhythmic scraping of metal on metal as Derek yanks his clothes free, one garment at a time. You're really doing this? My voice sounds foreign, like it's coming from somewhere outside my body. Just like that? He doesn't look at me, just keeps methodically emptying his side of the closet. The expensive suits I helped him pick for client meetings. The casual shirts Maya and I got him last Father's Day. All of it. Going into a sleek black suitcase that I've never seen before. I'm Alondra, and until 20 minutes ago I thought I was living someone else's life. A good life. The kind where your husband doesn't pack his bags on a random Tuesday evening while your 8-year-old daughter is at her piano lesson. Derek, I grab one of his shirts before he can add it to the pile. At least tell me why. He finally meets my eyes, and what I see there makes my stomach turn. Nothing. No guilt, no anger, no regret. Just empty calculation, like he's reviewing a business proposal. It's not working anymore, he says, tugging the shirt from my grip. You know that as well as I do. No, I really don't. My fingers curl into fists at my sides. What I know is that yesterday we were planning Maya's birthday party, and today you're walking out on us without even... Don't make this harder than it needs to be. He zips the suitcase with a finality that echoes through the room. I'll have my lawyer contact you about arrangements. Lawyer? The word tastes like poison. You already have a lawyer? He checks his watch, the one I gave him for our 10th anniversary, and sighs like I'm an employee who's making him late for a meeting. I need to go. Maya will be home soon, and it's better if I'm not here. Better for who? I step between him and the door. Because it's not better for her. And it's certainly not better for me to explain to our daughter why her father disappeared without saying goodbye. I'll call her tomorrow. He sidesteps me with practiced ease, dragging the suitcase behind him. Once things have settled, I follow him down the stairs, my mind racing through possibilities. An affair? Financial troubles? But nothing explains this cold, calculated exit. The Derek I knew, would never. The front door opens, and my heart stops. Maya stands there, her piano books clutched to her chest, eyes wide as she takes in the scene. Her father with his suitcase. Her mother on the verge of tears. Daddy? Her voice is small, uncertain. Where are you going? Derek freezes, his hand still on the doorknob. For a moment, I see a crack in his facade, a flicker of something that might be pain. Then it's gone, replaced by that same empty professionalism. I have to go away for a while, sweetheart. I'll call you tomorrow, okay? He doesn't wait for her response, doesn't hug her goodbye, just walks past her to the waiting taxi I hadn't even noticed until now. Maya drops her books and runs after him. Daddy, wait! I catch her before she can reach the sidewalk, holding her as she struggles. We watch together as Derek loads his suitcase into the trunk, gets into the back seat, and disappears down our tree-lined street without a backward glance. Maya's small body shakes with sobs against mine. I should be crying too, but something else is taking root inside me. Something hot and sharp and dangerous. Because now I know this wasn't a sudden decision. This was planned, calculated, every detail arranged in advance, from the taxi to the lawyer to the timing of his exit. And as I stand there, holding my daughter while our world crumbles around us, I make a promise to myself. Derek thinks he's written the ending to our story, but he's wrong. This isn't an ending at all, it's a declaration of war. The first thing I notice when I walk into my mother's design studio is the stack of accounting papers on her desk. Evelyn never leaves paperwork visible. It ruins the aesthetic, she always says. But today they're there, arranged in neat piles like evidence at a crime scene. You've been crying, she says, rising from her ergonomic chair. Sit down before you collapse. I sink into the leather sofa, the one she imported from Milan last year. Maya's curled up in the corner, absorbed in her tablet, headphones blocking out our adult conversations. Just like at home, she's retreated into her own world since Derek left 3 days ago. He's emptied our joint account. The words taste like battery acid. Every penny, Mother, even Maya's college fund. Evelyn's perfectly manicured nails drum against her desk. I warned you about joint accounts when you married him. A woman should always... Not now. I press my fingers to my temples. I need help, not lectures. She studies me for a moment, then pulls out a manila envelope. I had my accountant prepare these after your call yesterday. Financial records, property assessments, everything we'll need to protect your assets. Of course she did. Evelyn's always 3 steps ahead, especially when it comes to money. It's how she built her empire after my father died, turning a small interior design business into a multi-million-dollar firm. There's something else. She slides a piece of paper across the desk. Derek's restaurant. Look at the ownership structure. I scan the document, then read it again. This can't be right. He told me he owns 60%. He owns 25%, and he's leveraged even that against personal loans. She leans forward. Alondra, darling, when was the last time you actually looked at your family's finances? The question hits like a slap. I'd trusted Derek to handle the money while I focused on my design career in Maya. He'd always said he had everything under control, that his restaurant was thriving. Oh God! A memory surfaces. Derek's face 2 months ago when I mentioned expanding my freelance business. The flash of something in his eyes. Not pride, not support. He resented me. Men often do. Evelyn's voice carries years of hard-won wisdom, especially when their wives outshine them. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. We need to talk about Derek. Meet me at Riverside Park, 7 p.m. Liam. Derek's friend? Evelyn asks, reading over my shoulder. The one who helped him start the restaurant? I nod, remembering Liam's too wide smile at our dinner parties, the way he and Derek would huddle in corners, conversations stopping when I approached. He knows something. Then you need to know it too. Evelyn opens her desk drawer and removes a small recorder. Take this and remember what I taught you. Information is power. Maya looks up from her tablet, suddenly alert. Is Daddy in trouble? The question hangs in the air like smoke. I cross to the sofa and pull her close, breathing in the strawberry scent of her shampoo. No, baby. We're just trying to understand some grown-up things. He didn't call yesterday, she whispers. He promised. Evelyn's expression hardens. She reaches for her phone, but I shake my head. Let Derek dig his own grave with broken promises. Each one is another nail in the coffin of Maya's trust in him. I should go. I stand, taking the recorder and envelope. The park isn't far, but I want to scope it out before meeting Liam. Be careful! Evelyn's warning follows me to the door. Men like Derek don't just walk away without a reason. Whatever you find out tonight, it's probably worse than you imagine. I pause at the threshold, looking back at Maya. She's returned to her tablet, but her shoulders are tense, her small frame rigid with unspoken anxiety. Mother? I keep my voice low. If anything happens to me, nothing will happen. She cuts me off with trademark certainty. But Maya can stay with me tonight. Go find out what Derek's been hiding. As I drive toward Riverside Park, the recorder heavy in my pocket, I realize Evelyn's right. This isn't just about a failed marriage or wounded pride anymore. Derek's running from something, or toward something, and whatever it is, he thought it was worth destroying our family to protect. By sunset, I'll know what that something is. And then I'll make him wish he'd never underestimated me. Riverside Park feels different after sunset. The shadows stretch longer, darker, hiding things that shouldn't exist in decent neighborhoods, like the truth I'm about to learn. Liam's already waiting at the agreed spot, his silhouette unmistakable against the river's gleam. He's wearing the same expensive suit he always does. But something's off. The confidence is gone, replaced by nervous energy as he paces near the railing. You're early, he says when I approach. His eyes dart around like he's expecting company. Did anyone follow you? I press record on the device in my pocket. Who would be following me, Liam? He laughs, but it's hollow. You really don't know anything, do you? Derek always said you were focused elsewhere. Then enlighten me. I lean against the railing, forcing casualness I don't feel. Start with why my husband emptied our accounts before disappearing. Because he needed capital. Liam loosens his tie. The restaurant's just a front, Alondra. Has been for 2 years now. The words hit like ice water. A front for what? Money laundering mainly. Some other things. He pulls out a cigarette, hands shaking as he lights it. The Castillo family needed legitimate businesses to clean their cash. Derek needed investors. It seemed perfect until... The Castillos? My voice sounds distant, unreal. The same ones from the news? The drug cartel? Keep your voice down! Liam glances over his shoulder. Look, I'm only telling you this because you deserve to know. Derek's in deep. They're squeezing him for more than he can deliver, and now he's running. But they'll find him. They always do. A jogger passes by. We fall silent until she's gone. But my mind is screaming. Drug money, cartels. My husband, the man who read bedtime stories to our daughter, was laundering money for criminals. That's why he left us? The recorder feels heavy in my pocket. To protect his criminal partners? To protect you. Liam takes a long drag. They started asking questions about you, your mother's business, the properties she owns. Derek knew they were looking for new opportunities to expand their operation. My blood runs cold. They were targeting my mother's firm? Are targeting, present tense. He drops the cigarette, crushing it under his shoe. Derek thought if he disappeared, they'd focus on finding him instead of exploring other ventures. But he was wrong. They're still interested in Evelyn's business. Perfect setup for their needs. High-end clients, international transactions. A flash of movement catches my eye. A black SUV crawling past the park entrance. Liam sees it too. I shouldn't be here. He straightens his jacket. Neither should you. Go home, Alondra. Take Maya and leave town for a while, please. Wait. I grab his arm. There's more you're not telling me. He pulls away, but not before I see real fear in his eyes. Ask Derek about Sophie. Ask him what really happened to the original restaurant investors. But don't ask me anything else. I've said too much already. He walks away quickly, disappearing into the darkness. I stand there, frozen, as another black SUV drives past. Same model, different plates. My phone buzzes. A text from Derek. Stop asking questions. You're putting everyone in danger. I type back with shaking fingers. You put us in danger the moment you got involved with criminals. His response comes instantly. You don't understand. I did it for us, for the lifestyle you wanted. Rage floods my system, hot and clarifying. The lifestyle I wanted? I delete his number without responding. The recorder clicks off in my pocket. Memory full. I have what I need now. Evidence. Names. Connections. But knowledge isn't power when it can get you killed. My phone buzzes again. Unknown number. Mrs. Martinez, we should discuss your mother's business portfolio. Dinner tomorrow? I delete that too. Hands steady now. They're watching. Have been watching. Every move, every conversation, every possibility for profit or exploitation. Derek didn't just betray our marriage, he painted targets on all our backs. The third black SUV rolls past as I walk to my car. I don't run, don't look around, just walk, keys gripped between my knuckles, mind already racing ahead. I know what I have to do now. It's not enough to expose Derek anymore. I have to destroy him completely, before he can drag anyone else into his web of lies. Before the Castillos decide my mother's business is too tempting to resist. Before Maya learns that her father didn't just abandon us, he sacrificed us. The restaurant's Yelp page glows on my laptop screen, cursor hovering over the post review button. 3 stars, just enough to seem legitimate, not enough to help business. The comment I've crafted is subtle. Hints about food safety concerns, questions about financial stability. Nothing provably false, but deadly in its implications. My finger trembles above the mouse. This is wrong, petty, beneath me. I click post anyway. Mommy? Maya's voice startles me. She stands in my home office doorway, clutching her tablet. Someone at school said Daddy's restaurant might close. I close the laptop too quickly. Sometimes businesses have problems, sweetheart. It doesn't mean... Is that why those men were watching our house? The question stops my breath. What men? In the black car. She hugs the tablet tighter. They were there when I got home from piano yesterday, and this morning. My hands start shaking. I grab my phone, pulling up the security app I installed last week. The footage shows exactly what she described. A black SUV, different from the ones at the park, but just as ominous. The doorbell rings. Through my office window, I see Evelyn's Mercedes in the driveway. She never visits unannounced. Maya, go to your room, lock the door. Don't come out until I call you. She hesitates. Like when Daddy and Uncle Liam had their special meetings? The implications of that hit me like a punch. How much has my 8-year-old seen? How long has she been carrying these secrets? Evelyn's already letting herself in when I reach the foyer. Her face is ash gray. We have a problem. She throws a manila envelope on the coffee table. Inside are photos. Derek at various meetings, handling packages, exchanging envelopes, and more recent ones, me at Riverside Park with Liam, Maya at school, Evelyn leaving her office. They came with this. She hands me a business card. Expensive stock, embossed lettering. Sophie Chen, Business Development Director. Derek's Sophie? My laugh sounds hysterical even to me. She works for them? She works for everyone. Evelyn sinks onto the sofa. I did some digging. She specializes in identifying vulnerable businesses for takeover. The restaurant was just her way in. Now she set her sights on my firm. The pieces clicked together. That's why Derek ran. He realized she was using him to get to you. Using both of you. Evelyn's voice hardens. Your marriage problems made you perfect targets. A desperate husband, a successful wife with connections to bigger opportunities. My phone buzzes. A new review on the restaurant's page. Wonderful atmosphere, excellent service. Don't believe the negative reviews. They're from a bitter ex-wife trying to destroy a good man's business. Shame on you, Alondra. Sophie's signature move, turning the tables, making me look like the villain. I have to shut down the review campaign, I say, reaching for my laptop. It's too late. Evelyn pulls out more photos. They've been documenting everything. Every fake review, every call to health inspectors, every meeting with competitors. They'll use it all to discredit you if you try to expose them. Then what do? She meets my eyes. We give them what they want, on our terms. Your business? The thought makes me sick. Everything you've built? You've... Better to lose it controlled than have it stolen. She grips my hand. But first, we need leverage. Something they want more than my company. My phone buzzes again. Derek, stop digging, please. You don't know what Sophie is capable of. But I'm starting to understand exactly what she's capable of. And what I'm capable of, too. Maya, I call out. You can come down now. She appears at the top of the stairs, tablet in hand. I recorded them, she says quietly. The men in the car, and Uncle Liam's meetings with Daddy. I have videos. Evelyn and I exchange looks. My brilliant, observant daughter, gathering evidence while we thought she was playing games. Send them to my secure server, Evelyn says. Then delete everything from your device. I pull Maya close, feeling her small heart racing against mine. We're going to fix this, I promise. But not with fake reviews or subtle threats. We're going to destroy them the way they tried to destroy us. From the inside out. Through the window, I spot the black SUV crawling past our house again. Let them watch. Let them think they have us trapped. They don't know what a mother is capable of when her family is threatened, and they're about to find out. The restaurant's parking lot is half empty when I pull in, exactly as planned. 3 weeks of carefully orchestrated reviews, whispered rumors, and anonymous tips to health inspectors have done their work. Derek's empire is crumbling, brick by carefully undermined brick. I shouldn't be here, but I need to see it for myself. Through the window, I spot Sophie working the floor, her designer dress incongruous among the casual diners. She moves with practiced grace, touching shoulders, laughing at jokes, building allies. The perfect hostess, just like she was the perfect mistress. My phone vibrates. Evelyn. Meeting set with Castillo representatives tomorrow. Don't do anything to jeopardize it. Too late. I'm already pushing through the door, bell chiming my arrival. Sophie's smile freezes when she sees me. We're fully booked. Doesn't look that way. I gesture at the empty tables. Slow night? Business fluctuates. Her perfectly manicured nails drum against the hostess stand. But you'd know all about that, wouldn't you? A waiter approaches, then retreats at Sophie's sharp gesture. The remaining customers studiously avoid looking our way. Where is he? I keep my voice low, controlled. Derek needs to sign the divorce papers. He's dealing with more important matters. She steps closer, voice dropping, like saving his business from his vindictive ex-wife's sabotage campaign. Funny, I thought he'd be busy explaining to the Castillos why their investment is tanking. Her smile slips, just for a moment. You have no idea what game you're playing. Don't I? I pull out my phone, showing her Maya's recordings. My daughter's quite the documentarian. These would make fascinating viewing for the health department, or the police, or the media. The color drains from her face. You wouldn't dare. Try me. I swipe to another video. Sophie herself, meeting with known Castillo associates. I'm not the desperate housewife you thought you could manipulate. And Derek isn't the only one with something to lose. The kitchen doors burst open. Derek storms out, face twisted with rage and fear. What are you doing here? Getting your attention. I turn the phone toward him. Maya saw everything, Derek. Every meeting, every package, every lie. He grabs my arm, pulling me toward his office. Sophie follows, heels clicking like warning shots. You're going to get us all killed, he hisses once the door closes. You did that when you involved our family with criminals. I did it to keep up with you. His control shatters. Your success, your mother's connections, your perfect life. Do you know what it's like living in that shadow? Poor Derek. My laugh sounds foreign, bitter. So threatened by your wife's success that you turned to crime. Was Sophie part of the original plan, or just a bonus? Sophie steps between us. I approached him. The restaurant was perfect for our needs. And Derek? She touches his arm possessively. Derek was perfect too, so eager to prove himself. By betraying everything he claimed to love. By surviving. Derek slumps into his chair. The Castillos own me now. They own all of us. Not me. I set my phone on his desk, playing Maya's videos. And not my daughter. Sign the papers, Derek. Walk away, or these go public. Sophie's laugh is cold. You'd risk everything? Your mother's business? Your daughter's safety? I already have a plan for that. I meet Derek's eyes. Remember what you always said about me? That I was too focused, too driven? You were right. And now that focus is on destroying you. You can't win this, he whispers. Watch me. The office door opens. Liam stands there, face grim. They're here. Through the window, I see 3 black SUVs pulling into the parking lot. The same ones that have been watching my house, following Maya. Sophie straightens her dress. Right on schedule. What did you do? Derek's voice shakes. Called in the cavalry? She smirks at me. Let's see how focused you are when facing the real players, Alondra. I should be terrified. Instead, a strange calm settles over me. This is what I've been waiting for. The moment when all the pieces align. Perfect timing. I press send on the email I composed this morning. Because I just sent copies of everything. The videos, the financial records, the proof of Sophie's double dealing. To every news outlet in the state. The color drains from Sophie's face. Derek lunges for my phone. Too late. The game is changing. And this time I'm writing the rules. The Castillo's men don't look like criminals. They wear tailored suits and polite smiles as they escort me into the restaurant's private dining room. Like bankers. Like businessmen. Like Derek. Before I knew what he really was. Their leader sits at the head of the table. Fingers steepled. Mrs. Martinez, your email campaign was impressive. Alondra, please. I take the offered seat, hands steady despite everything. And it wasn't a campaign, just insurance. Sophie hovers by the door, her perfect composure cracking. Derek stands behind her, face ashen. The morning news plays silently on a wall-mounted TV, showing footage of police raids at multiple restaurants across the city. Insurance. The man, I still don't know his name, slides a tablet across the table. Like these videos your daughter recorded? My heart stops. On screen, Maya's face appears, filming through her bedroom window. Recent footage from last night. Don't! Derek starts forward, but Sophie grabs his arm. Your daughter has quite an eye for detail. The man's smile doesn't reach his eyes. It would be a shame if something happened to stifle her creative pursuits. The threat hangs in the air like smoke. I taste copper, realize I've bitten through my lip. What do you want? The same thing we've always wanted. Your mother's business, its connections, its potential. He gestures expansively. Derek was supposed to facilitate that transition smoothly. When he failed, Sophie stepped in. Now here we are making things complicated. My phone buzzes. Evelyn, where are you? The FBI is here. The man's smile widens. Ah, right on schedule. Your mother made the call, I assume? What? We've been working with Evelyn for months. Sophie steps forward, triumphant. Who do you think introduced me to Derek? We needed someone close to you, someone who could help guide you toward cooperation. The room tilts sideways. My mother wouldn't... Your mother is a businesswoman. The man's voice is almost gentle. She understands the value of strategic partnerships, unlike you, with your messy emotions and desperate revenge plots. The TV catches my eye again. Breaking news banner. Local designer linked to money laundering operation. My face appears on screen, followed by Derek's, then Maya's school photo. No! The word comes out strangled. You can't! We already have. He stands, straightening his jacket. Your reputation is ruined. Your daughter's safety is compromised. Your mother's cooperation is secured. The only question is, will you finally stop fighting? Derek moves toward me, face twisted with genuine anguish. I tried to warn you. I tried to protect you by leaving. By running away. I spit back. Like always. Enough. The man's voice cuts through the tension. Mrs. Martinez, you have 1 hour to sign over your shares in your mother's company. After that, he glances at the tablet, still showing Maya's face. Well, my phone buzzes again. Unknown number. Maya is safe. Trust no one. Wait for signal. I almost laugh. Trust no one? Too late. My husband betrayed me. My mother sold me out. Even my revenge has been turned against me. I'll need to review the paperwork, I say, voice hollow. Of course. He signals, and a thick contract appears. Take your time. Sophie will stay with you. They file out, leaving Sophie standing guard. Derek hesitates at the door. I'm sorry, he whispers. I never wanted... Get out. The door closes. Sophie smirks. You should have stayed in your lane, Alondra. Focused on your little design projects instead of playing detective. I stare at the contract, mind racing. The FBI is with my mother. Maya is supposedly safe. Everything I thought I knew about my family, my marriage, my life, has been a carefully constructed lie. But there's one truth they don't know, one card I haven't played. My phone buzzes one final time. The signal I've been waiting for. Package delivered. Countdown started. I look up at Sophie, managing a broken smile. You're right. I should have stayed in my lane. She frowns, sensing something in my tone. But then again, I reach for the contract. I've always been better at demolition than design. The first explosion rocks the building's foundation, right on schedule. Maya's videos weren't the only insurance I had in place. Sometimes, to win the game, you have to burn down the board. Smoke fills the private dining room as the second explosion rocks the building. Sophie stumbles, her perfect composure finally cracking. Through the chaos, I hear sirens approaching. What did you do? She lunges for me, but I'm already moving. The sprinkler system activates, drenching everything, including the surveillance equipment I spotted earlier. Water shorts out the cameras, leaving us truly alone for the first time. The same thing you did. I grab her arm before she can reach the door. I played everyone against each other. The door bursts open. Derek rushes in, coughing from the smoke. The Castillos are trapped in the kitchen. FBI surrounding the building. FBI? Sophie's laugh turns hysterical. You stupid bitch, you think the FBI can touch them? They own half the Bureau? I cut her off. No, but the CIA's International Trafficking Division? That's different. Her face goes slack. Behind her, Derek's eyes widen with understanding. Those weren't just restaurant supply deliveries you were coordinating, I continue. Maya recorded everything, every package, every coded conversation. My mother saw the patterns months ago. Evelyn was working with us, Sophie snarls. No! I pull out my phone, showing her the real messages from my mother. She was working with federal agents, setting you up, setting all of you up. Derek sags against the wall. That's why she introduced me to Sophie, why she encouraged the restaurant deal. My own mother used my husband as bait. The words still taste bitter, and then used my revenge as cover for the investigation. Another explosion, closer this time. The building groans ominously. We need to get out. Derek reaches for me, but I step back. You're not going anywhere. Sophie pulls a gun from her purse. Neither of you are leaving until... The ceiling crashes down between us. Through the gap, I see Maya's favorite stuffed bear in the debris. The one she always kept in Derek's office. The one I helped her hide a microphone in months ago. You bugged my office? Derek's voice cracks. Using our daughter? She volunteered. The truth hurts us both. After she saw you hitting Sophie that night, she knew then that you weren't just weak, Derek. You were dangerous. Sophie's gun wavers. He never... Check your security footage. Maya caught it all. The fights, the threats, the real reason Derek ran. I lock eyes with my husband. You weren't protecting us by leaving. You were protecting yourself. The floor shifts beneath us. Emergency lights cast everything in surreal red shadows. It doesn't matter now. Sophie aims the gun at my chest. You've ruined everything. No. I step forward, letting her see the detonator in my hand. I finished what my mother started. The CIA has their evidence, the Castillos are trapped, and that gun won't help you when the next charge goes off. Derek lunges at Sophie, wrestling for the weapon. They crash into the table as FBI agents swarm through the broken door. Federal agents, drop the weapon! Sophie fires wildly. Derek screams. The ceiling groans. I dive through the chaos, slamming the detonator trigger just as Sophie turns the gun toward me. The final explosion drowns everything in white noise and debris. When the dust settles, Sophie lies unconscious under fallen beams. Derek clutches his bleeding shoulder, staring at me with something between fear and awe. Maya? His voice shakes. Safe. With my mother's security team. I step over Sophie's still form. She'll testify against you both. Alondra, Save it. I meet his eyes one last time. You chose your path, now I've chosen mine. FBI agents secure Sophie as paramedics rush in. Through the destroyed wall, I see the Castillo leader being led away in handcuffs, my mother watching from beside a CIA operative. Mrs. Martinez? An agent touches my arm. We'll need your statement. I nod, watching Derek being handcuffed despite his injury. He looks small now, broken. Nothing like the man I married. Nothing like the monster he became. My phone buzzes one last time. Maya. Did we win, Mom? I stare at the message, thinking of all we've lost, all we've gained, the price of revenge, and the cost of justice. Yes, baby, I type back. We won. But as they lead Derek away, I wonder what winning really means when victory tastes like ashes and smoke. The courthouse steps feel colder in autumn. Maya clutches my hand as we watch Derek being led away in handcuffs, his designer suit replaced by prison orange. He doesn't look back. Will Daddy ever come home? She asks, not for the first time. No, baby. I squeeze her hand. But that's not your fault. She nods, wise beyond her years. I know, it's not yours either. The words hit harder than any testimony. Through the trial, I'd watched my daughter transform from victim to witness. Her recordings helping convict not just Derek and Sophie, but half the Castillo organization. She never wavered, never broke, just stated facts in that clear child's voice that made every jury member lean forward. Evelyn waits by her car, keeping her distance until Derek's transport disappears around the corner. When she approaches, her heels click like metronome beats marking time. The CIA sends their thanks, she says, as if we're discussing a successful dinner party. The evidence was comprehensive. 15 years. The sentence echoes in my head. Was it worth it? Using your own family as bait? She reaches for Maya, who steps behind me. Another small gesture that speaks volumes. I protected you the only way I knew how. Evelyn's perfect makeup can't hide her age today. By controlling the danger rather than letting it control us. Like Derek tried to control me? Like Sophie tried to control him? The laugh catches in my throat. We're all just puppets, pulling each other's strings. Maya tugs my sleeve, pointing across the street. Through the autumn leaves, I spot a black SUV idling. Not the Castillos this time. They're finished. But there will always be others. Other criminals, other schemes, other families to destroy. I'm selling the firm, Evelyn announces suddenly. Moving to Paris. You should come with me, both of you. Start fresh. Run away? I meet her eyes. Like Derek did? She flinches. For the first time, I see real regret in her expression. I know what you meant. I take Maya's hand again. But we're done running, done hiding, done letting fear control us. The house feels different without the security detail, Maya says later that night, helping me pack Derek's remaining belongings for donation. Quieter. I pause, holding one of his old ties. The silk is smooth under my fingers, like the lies he used to tell. Different good or different bad? She considers this, arranging her stuffed animals on the bed we bought to replace the one that reminded her of watching Derek through her window. Different true. The wisdom of children. I drop the tie in the donation box, noting how Maya relaxes when it's out of sight. She's been sleeping better since the trial, drawing pictures that don't feature shadowy figures or hidden cameras. My phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. You won, but at what cost? Sophie's final taunt from wherever she's hiding after making bail. I delete it without responding, but the question lingers. The cost? A marriage. A mother-daughter relationship. Maya's innocence. My own. The gain. Freedom. Truth. A daughter who knows her strength. A mother who finally understands her own. Mom? Maya holds up Derek's old watch. My anniversary gift to him. Can we burn this one? I should say no. Should teach her about forgiveness, about rising above revenge. Instead, I grab the lighter fluid from the garage. We build a small fire in the backyard fire pit, watching as the watch face melts and warps. Maya adds the tie I couldn't donate. I throw in my wedding ring. Is this wrong? She asks, watching the flames consume our past. Maybe. I pull her close. But sometimes wrong feels right, and right feels wrong, and all we can do is choose our own path. She nods, understanding more than I did at twice her age. Like choosing to help the CIA instead of running away? Like choosing to be strong instead of safe? The fire crackles, sending sparks into the night sky. Somewhere out there, Evelyn is planning her escape to Paris. Derek is starting his prison sentence. Sophie is plotting her next move. But here, in this moment, Maya and I are choosing something different. Not revenge, not justice, just truth, in all its messy, complicated glory. The truth about strength, about family, about the fine line between protection and control. And maybe that's the greatest revenge of all.
Betrayal has a sound. Today, it was the soft click of expensive heels on hardwood floors, followed by hushed voices that grew louder as I approached our front door. I hadn't expected anyone to be home at 2 p.m, let alone the entire family gathered in what was supposed to be my sanctuary. My name is Harmony, and I should have known something was wrong when Mark stopped kissing me goodbye in the mornings. I pushed open the door to find them arranged like a tribunal. Sophie perched on our leather armchair, her manicured fingers drumming an impatient rhythm on the armrest. Mark's parents, Linda and Tom, occupied the sofa, while my husband stood by the fireplace, his back to me. Well, isn't this cozy? I said, dropping my design portfolio by the door. Should I have brought snacks for our impromptu family meeting? Sophie's lip curled. This isn't a social call, Harmony. We need to discuss your living situation. My what? The room suddenly felt too small, too warm. Linda leaned forward, her pearls catching the afternoon light. Dear, we've been patient, but it's time you found your own place. This arrangement isn't working anymore. I looked at Mark's back, waiting for him to turn around to defend me. He didn't move. Arrangement? My voice came out steadier than I felt. You mean my marriage? The home I've helped pay for over the last 5 years? Don't be dramatic, Sophie cut in. We all know Mark's been carrying the financial burden. Your little design projects barely cover the groceries. A laugh escaped me, sharp and bitter. Little projects? I paid for the kitchen renovation last year. I've been contributing to the mortgage since day one. That's not entirely accurate, Tom spoke up, his first words since I'd entered. He pulled out a folder from his briefcase. We've been reviewing the property documents. Your name isn't on any of them. The floor seemed to tilt beneath my feet. That's impossible. Mark and I signed the papers together. Finally, my husband turned around. His face was blank, like a stranger's. We need to make some changes, Harmony. This isn't working. What isn't working? I stepped closer, searching his face for any trace of the man I married. The fact that I've been supporting us while you've been between projects for the past 8 months? Sophie stood up, smoothing her designer dress. See? This is exactly why we need you gone. You're always throwing things in Mark's face, making him feel inadequate. Oh, that's rich coming from you. I turned to face her fully. How's that promotion working out? The one you got after stealing my branding concepts? That's enough, Linda's voice cracked through the air. This is precisely why we need to separate. You're toxic for this family, Harmony. Always have been. My hands were shaking now, but not from fear. Rage coursed through me, cold and clarifying. Mark, I said softly, is this what you want? He wouldn't meet my eyes. It's for the best. The best for whom? I walked to the mantel, picked up our wedding photo. For you? For your sister who's been trying to drive me out since day one? Or for your parents who never thought I was good enough? Don't make this harder than it needs to be, Sophie said, her voice dripping with false sympathy. We've already packed most of your things. I set the photo down with deliberate care. You went through my belongings? We took the liberty, Linda said. The boxes are in the garage. Something inside me shifted then, like a gear clicking into place. I looked at each of them. These people who'd smiled at family dinners, who'd hugged me at holidays, who'd planned this ambush with the precision of executioners. All right, I said quietly. I'll go, but remember this moment. Remember exactly how you chose to do this. Are you threatening us? Sophie's eyes narrowed. I smiled, and for the first time I saw uncertainty flicker across their faces. No, Sophie, I'm making a promise. You wanted me gone? Congratulations. You just lost the only person who was keeping your house of cards from collapsing. I turned and walked out, leaving them in silence. In the garage, I saw the neat stack of boxes containing my life, labeled in Sophie's perfect handwriting. I didn't touch them. Instead, I pulled out my phone and dialed my friend Emma's number. They thought they were erasing me. They didn't realize they were setting me free. Emma's spare bedroom felt like exile, but it beat sleeping in my car. 3 days had passed since the ambush, and I'd spent them methodically pulling apart the threads of my marriage, looking for the exact moment it started unraveling. Your coffee's getting cold, Emma said, leaning against the doorframe. And you've been staring at that laptop screen for 2 hours. I rubbed my eyes. I'm going through our joint accounts. Something's not adding up. Besides your husband being a spineless jerk? Besides that, I turned the screen toward her. Look at these transfers. Every month for the past year, large sums moving to an account I don't recognize. Emma sat beside me, squinting at the numbers. That's a lot of money, Harmony. Where's it going? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Mark's name flashed on the screen. I let it ring. You should answer it, Emma said. He's called 6 times today. I picked up on the 7th ring. What? Where are you? His voice was tight, controlled. We need to talk about the Anderson account. The Anderson account, my biggest client. Nothing to discuss. They're my clients. They were your clients through my company's connections. The contract is under my name, I cut in. Check the paperwork, Mark. I made sure of that after Sophie tried to steal my last project. Silence crackled between us. Then, my sister was trying to help you. Help herself, you mean? I pulled up another bank statement. Like you've been helping yourself to our savings? Want to tell me about the transfers to account number 847? The line went dead. Coward, I muttered, tossing the phone aside. Emma touched my arm. What transfers? Nearly $200,000 over the past year. I thought we were saving for a down payment on a bigger house. I laughed, but it came out hollow. Turns out Mark's been moving money somewhere else. I just need to figure out where. My phone buzzed again, this time with a text from Sophie. Stop harassing my brother. You're embarrassing yourself. I showed Emma the message. Want to know something funny? Sophie's company just launched a new design division. Brand new office space, fully staffed, equipment, everything. That takes capital. You think Mark gave her your money? I think... My voice caught as another piece clicked into place. I think I need to visit the bank. An hour later, I stood in front of a very uncomfortable bank manager named Steve, who kept tugging at his collar as he reviewed my documents. Mrs. Harrison, while you're listed on the checking account, the savings account was converted to an individual account 6 months ago. Your signature is right here on the transfer authorization. I stared at the signature.
It looked like mine, but I'd never signed it. That's forgery. Steve shifted in his chair. That's a serious accusation. Yes, it is. I pulled out my phone and opened my calendar. On the date this was supposedly signed, I was in Seattle at a design conference. I have flight tickets, hotel receipts, and about 50 witnesses who saw me give a keynote speech that morning. The color drained from Steve's face. I'll need to escalate this to our fraud department. Please do. I stood up. And while you're at it, I'd like all records of transfers from that account for the past year. I'm sure the police will find them interesting. Walking out of the bank, I felt something shift inside me. The hurt was still there, but it was hardening into something else. Something sharp and focused. My phone buzzed with another text from Mark. Family dinner tonight. We need to talk. I typed back, yes, we do. I'll bring the bank statements. Emma was waiting in her car outside. How'd it go? They forged my signature. I buckled my seatbelt, hands steady despite the rage coursing through me. Mark and Sophie stole my money to fund her new business venture. They probably thought I'd never notice, that I'd just accept their story about me being a financial burden and leave quietly. What are you gonna do? I watched the bank's glass doors reflect the afternoon sun, thinking about all the careful plans Mark and his family had made to push me out of their lives. I'm going to do exactly what they taught me. Take everything they have. Harmony. Emma's voice held a note of warning. Don't worry. I smiled, and it felt like baring teeth. I won't do anything illegal. I'll just make sure they experience exactly what they planned for me. Complete and utter abandonment, one piece at a time. My phone buzzed again. Linda this time. We expect you at dinner. Time to act like adults. I texted back one word. Perfect. The family dinner felt like walking into a trap with my eyes wide open. Linda's dining room with its pristine tablecloth and carefully arranged place settings might as well have been a courtroom. I arrived 15 minutes early. Bank documents tucked in my bag like ammunition. Sophie was already there, perched at the table like she owned it. You actually came. Wouldn't miss it. I took my usual seat, noting how they'd clustered their chairs at one end, leaving me isolated. How's the new design division? Her smile flickered. Thriving. Unlike some people's careers. Funny you should mention that. I pulled out my phone, opened my emails. The Anderson Group called today. Apparently, someone claiming to represent my interests tried to convince them to transfer their account to a new agency. Your agency. The front door opened and Mark's footsteps echoed in the hallway. Sophie's face hardened. You're delusional. Am I? I turned my phone toward her. Because I have the email chain and the recorded phone call. California's a two-party consent state for recordings, by the way, except when there's reasonable suspicion of fraud. Mark entered, followed by his parents. He stopped short when he saw me, his tie slightly crooked. You're early. Couldn't wait to start. I smiled at Linda. Shall we eat first, or should we discuss how your children committed financial fraud? The crystal water glasses rattled as Tom set down his drink too hard. Now see here. No, you see here. I laid out the bank documents one by one. Forged signatures, unauthorized transfers, theft of client relationships. It's all here, with timestamps, witnesses, and documentation. Mark moved behind Sophie's chair, gripping it. You're overreacting. We can explain. Explain what? How you funneled my money into Sophie's new business? Or how you tried to steal my clients while pushing me out of my own home? Linda's voice cut through the tension. Everything we did was to protect this family. Your family, I corrected her. The same family that watched me pour my inheritance from my dead parents into this house, then forged documents to remove my name from the deed? Silence fell like a blade. That's different, Mark said quietly. The house was always meant to stay in the family. And I wasn't family enough? I pulled out one final document. You know what's interesting? I had my lawyer look into the original house purchase. Turns out there were some irregularities with the down payment documentation. Tom stood up so quickly his chair scraped against the floor. You had no right. I had every right. Just like I had every right to forward those findings to the mortgage company's fraud department this afternoon. Sophie's face went white. You didn't. I did. They're very interested in how you managed to secure that loan with falsified income statements. I stood up, smoothing my dress. Oh, and Mark? Your project manager position? I called your office. They said you were laid off 8 months ago. Funny how the transfers to Sophie's account started right after that. Mark lunged forward. You vindictive?
Careful. I held up my phone. Still recording. And assault charges would really complicate things, wouldn't they? Linda's hands trembled as she reached for her water. What do you want? What do I want? I laughed, and the sound seemed to shake the crystal chandelier above us. I want my money back. I want my clients left alone. And I want you all to remember this moment, when your perfect little family scheme fell apart. We can work something out, Mark said, desperation creeping into his voice. Just don't submit those fraud reports. Too late. I picked up my bag. They're already filed. But hey, maybe you can explain to the investigators how you're the real victims here. You're good at playing that role. Sophie stood up, her chair clattering backward. You'll regret this. No, Sophie. I regret believing I could ever be part of this family. But that ends today. I walked to the door, then turned back. Oh, and Linda? You might want to call your country club. Apparently there's some confusion about who's been paying those membership dues for the past 3 years. Spoiler alert, it wasn't Mark. I left them there, surrounded by their expensive furniture and exposed lies. As I drove away, my phone exploded with messages and calls, but I didn't need to read them. I already knew what came next. They thought they were destroying me. Instead, they'd given me everything I needed to destroy them. The investigator's office smelled like old coffee and resignation. Detective Morris shuffled through my documents, her expression carefully neutral. 3 days had passed since the family dinner, and the weight of what I'd set in motion pressed against my chest like a stone. Mrs. Harrison, these allegations are serious. She tapped the papers with a chipped nail. But something's missing here. Missing? She slid a document across her desk. Your husband's signature on the original mortgage. It's not just forged. It's dated 3 months before you two were married. The fluorescent lights suddenly seemed too bright. That's impossible. We bought the house together, after the wedding. According to county records, the house was purchased solely by Mark Harrison and his sister Sophie. She paused, using funds from a trust that technically belonged to their deceased grandmother. The room tilted sideways. I don't understand. I put my inheritance into that house. Did you? Detective Morris opened another file. Because we can't find any record of that transaction. Your inheritance seems to have gone somewhere else entirely. My phone buzzed. Emma texting to check if I was okay. I ignored it, focusing on breathing. Where? An offshore account, opened in your name, but with withdrawal authorizations for both Mark and Sophie Harrison. She leaned forward. Mrs. Harrison, I don't think you're the victim here. I think you're being set up as the perpetrator. The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. My exposure of their fraud wasn't just anticipated. It was orchestrated. They wanted me to file those reports, I whispered. It appears so. She closed the file. Right now, the evidence suggests you've been moving money offshore while attempting to claim ownership of property that was never yours. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I can prove... Can you? She looked genuinely sympathetic. Because every document you've provided has been expertly altered to implicate you in a fairly sophisticated financial scheme. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Mark. We need to talk, now. I stood up, gripping the back of my chair. I need a lawyer. That would be wise. Detective Morris handed me her card. And Mrs. Harrison, don't leave town. The parking lot was dark when I emerged. Emma was waiting in her car, but before I could reach her, another vehicle pulled up. Linda's Mercedes. Get in, she said through the rolled-down window. Unless you'd prefer to discuss this with the police? I slid into the back seat. Sophie turned from the passenger side, her smile razor-sharp. Did you really think we wouldn't be prepared? That we'd let you destroy everything we've built? Everything you stole, you mean? My voice sounded distant, hollow. We protected our legacy, Linda said, pulling onto the main road. You were supposed to be grateful for what we gave you, not demand more. Grateful? I laughed, and it came out like breaking glass. For stealing my inheritance? For forging documents? Sophie's smile widened. Prove it. Every signature we used matches yours perfectly. Every transaction has your digital fingerprints. Even your precious clients will testify that you've been acting erratically, making unauthorized decisions. Why? The question burned in my throat. Why go through all this? Linda's eyes met mine in the rearview mirror. Because you were never supposed to stay. Mark needed a wife for appearances, for the trust fund requirements. You served your purpose. My phone buzzed one final time. Emma again. Don't trust them. I have something you need to see. So what now? I asked, watching familiar streets slide by. Now? Sophie turned fully to face me. Now you sign these papers, admitting to everything. You leave town, never contact us again, and we don't press charges. She held out a manila envelope. Through the window behind her, I could see we were heading toward the house. My house. Or what I'd thought was mine. And if I refuse? Then we finish filing the police reports, Linda said calmly. All of them, including the ones about client theft, embezzlement, and fraud. Your choice. I took the envelope, feeling its weight. The weight of their perfect trap, their years of planning. But as we pulled into the driveway, I saw Emma's car parked across the street, and something else caught my eye. A small red light blinking in her dashboard. She was recording everything. Well? Sophie demanded. What's it going to be? I opened the envelope slowly, buying time. They thought they had me cornered, but they'd forgotten something crucial. I had nothing left to lose. Actually, I said, I have a counteroffer. Emma's apartment felt like a war room, scattered with documents and laptop screens showing security footage. The recording from her car played on repeat, Linda's voice crystal clear. Mark needed a wife for appearances, for the trust fund requirements. They didn't just want to frame you, Emma said, pointing to her screen. They needed to marry you specifically. I stared at the document she'd pulled up, my parents' will. How did you get this? I'm a paralegal, remember? I called in some favors. She highlighted a section. Your parents' estate included shares in Harrison Technologies. Small percentage, but significant enough that when combined with Mark's inheritance, they could control the company. The realization hit like a physical blow. That's why they chose me. They needed my shares. And now they need you gone, but not before transferring everything to them. Emma pulled up another document. Look at the date they started planning this. 3 months before you even met Mark. My phone buzzed. Sophie again. Time's running out. Sign or suffer. I turned to Emma. Show me everything. For the next hour, we pieced together their scheme. The fake romance, the rushed marriage, the careful manipulation of documents. They'd been patient, waiting years to spring their trap. There's something else, Emma said quietly. She handed me a flash drive. Security footage from your parents' accident. It wasn't random. My hands went numb. What? The brake lines were tampered with. I can't prove who did it, but 3 days before the accident, guess who was seen near your parents' house? The security footage showed Tom, Mark's father, wearing mechanic's coveralls. My phone rang. Mark this time. I answered on speaker. Have you made your decision? His voice was cold, unfamiliar. Actually, I have some questions first. I kept my voice steady. Like why your father was working on my parents' car 3 days before they died. Silence crackled across the line. Then, you're desperate, Harmony. Making wild accusations won't help you. No? Then explain why you married me exactly 3 months after their death. The minimum waiting period for accessing their shares. I watched the footage again. Tom's familiar figure moving with purpose. Explain why your family needed those shares so badly. Sign the papers, he snapped. Or tomorrow the police get evidence of your embezzlement, fraud, and now, harassment. Funny thing about evidence, I said. It works both ways. Check your email. I heard the notification ping through the phone, followed by sharp intake of breath. You're bluffing, he whispered. Am I? That's just a sample. I have more. Years of documentation, security footage, banking records. Everything Emma and I have gathered. One call, and it all goes to the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. You'll implicate yourself. Maybe. But I've got nothing left to lose, remember? You made sure of that. I leaned closer to the phone. Here's my counteroffer. Return my inheritance, confess to the fraud, or I burn everything down, including proof of your father's involvement in my parents' death. You wouldn't dare. Try me. I ended the call, hands shaking. Emma touched my arm. Are you sure about this? They could still hurt you. They already have. I stood up, gathering the documents. But now they know I can hurt them back. My phone lit up with texts. First Sophie, then Linda, finally Tom. Each message more desperate than the last. They'd underestimated me. Thought I was weak because I'd trusted them, loved them. What's the next move? Emma asked. I pulled up the email I'd drafted earlier, addressed to the Harrison Technologies Board of Directors. Attached were documents proving Mark and Sophie's mismanagement, the fraud, the theft. Everything except my parents' accident. That was my insurance policy. Now, I hit send. Now we watch them tear each other apart trying to save themselves. Emma's laptop pinged with notifications. The family's private chat exploding with accusations and threats. They were already turning on each other. "They'll come after you harder," Emma warned. "Let them." I watched the chaos unfold on screen. They taught me well how to lie, how to manipulate, how to destroy someone from the inside out. Time they learned what a good student I've been. My phone buzzed one final time. A message from Mark. "You've just started a war." I typed back, "No, I'm finishing one you started years ago." The board meeting was tomorrow. By sunset, the Harrison family's carefully constructed world would begin to crumble, and I would be there to watch every moment of their destruction. The Harrison Technologies boardroom felt like a tomb, all mahogany and muted lighting. I sat alone at the end of the table, watching board members file in, their faces carefully neutral. Mark and Sophie entered last, followed by their parents. None of them looked at me. "Before we begin," the board chairman said, "I understand Mrs. Harrison has evidence of financial irregularities she'd like to present." I opened my laptop, but before I could speak, Mark stood. "Actually, we have something to present first." He nodded to Sophie, who distributed folders to each board member. Evidence of extensive fraud and embezzlement perpetrated by my wife. My fingers froze over the keyboard. The documents they were reviewing weren't the ones I'd sent. They were perfect forgeries, showing my signature on transactions I'd never seen. "These are fake," I said, but my voice sounded thin even to me. Sophie smiled. "The banking records say otherwise, along with witness statements from clients describing your erratic behavior and unauthorized actions." The chairman frowned at the papers. "These are very serious allegations, Mrs. Harrison." "Check your email," I said. "I sent you proof of their fraud last night." "We received no such email," another board member said. My stomach dropped. I pulled up my sent folder. Empty. Somehow they'd accessed my account, erased everything. I looked at Emma's seat. Empty. She should have been here with the backup files. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Emma's been detained. Car trouble. Shame about those backup files in her trunk." "Mrs. Harrison!" The chairman's voice cut through my panic. "Do you have any evidence to support your claims?" Linda spoke up, her voice trembling with practiced concern. "We tried to help her. After her parents' death, she became unstable, started making accusations, trying to take control of assets that were never hers." "That's not—" I started, but Tom interrupted. "We have security footage," he said quietly, "of her accessing restricted accounts after hours, transferring funds. We didn't want to believe it, but—" The board members exchanged glances. I watched my carefully constructed plan crumble as they nodded along with the fabricated evidence. "I move to suspend all of Mrs. Harrison's access immediately," Sophie said, "and initiate a full investigation." "Seconded," Mark added, not meeting my eyes. The vote was unanimous. Security guards appeared at my elbows, ready to escort me out. But I had one card left to play. "Ask Tom about my parents' car," I said loudly. "Ask him why he tampered with their brakes 3 days before their accident." The room went silent. Tom's face drained of color. "More baseless accusations," Linda said quickly, but I saw the flash of fear in her eyes. "We have footage," I pressed. "Date stamped, showing me helping your father with routine maintenance," Tom cut in smoothly. "Which he requested, as documented in these emails." He pulled out another perfect forgery, and I realized how thoroughly they'd covered every angle. The chairman cleared his throat. "I think we've heard enough. Mrs. Harrison, please surrender your credentials and leave the premises. The authorities will be notified of our findings." As security led me out, I caught Mark's eye. For a moment, his mask slipped, and I saw something like regret. Then Sophie touched his arm, and he turned away. In the parking lot, my car's tires were slashed. Emma wasn't answering her phone. My bank accounts were frozen. They'd thought of everything, dismantled every piece of evidence, corrupted or threatened every witness. My phone buzzed one final time. "Sophie, you should have taken our first offer. Now you'll lose everything." I sat on the curb, watching the sun set behind the Harrison Technologies building. They'd won. Completely, utterly won. I had no money, no evidence, No allies. Even Emma was gone, probably threatened into silence. A police car rolled slowly through the parking lot, the officer inside watching me. Soon they'd come with questions, with warrants, with handcuffs. The Harrisons would watch from their windows, satisfied that they'd finally destroyed me completely. But as I sat there, something strange happened. The despair didn't crush me. It crystallized. They thought they'd taken everything, but they'd forgotten something crucial. The truth about my parents' death. I might not have proof anymore, but I had certainty. And sometimes, certainty was enough. I stood up, brushing off my clothes. They wanted me desperate, broken, alone. Instead, they'd given me clarity. If I was going down, I'd make sure to drag their darkest secrets into the light with me. My phone buzzed again. An unknown number. Need a ride? Maybe I wasn't as alone as they thought. The annual Harrison family gala buzzed with nervous energy. Through the glittering crowd, I watched Sophie work the room, her designer dress a perfect match for her practiced smile. Mark stood with the board members, champagne in hand, while Linda and Tom greeted guests near the entrance. Emma's text flashed on my phone. Files uploaded. Ready when you are. I smoothed my black dress, the one Mark had bought me for our first anniversary, and moved toward the podium. The Harrisons hadn't noticed me yet, too busy basking in their apparent victory. 2 weeks of letting them think they'd won had made them careless. Ladies and gentlemen, I tapped the microphone, watching their heads snap up in unison. I'd like to propose a toast. Sophie started forward, but Mark grabbed her arm, his face pale. He knew that tone in my voice. To family, I continued, raising my glass. And to secrets, especially the ones we keep in safety deposit boxes. Tom's champagne glass slipped from his fingers, shattering on the marble floor. Harmony, Linda stepped forward, her smile brittle. This isn't the time. It's exactly the time. I nodded to Emma at the back of the room. The projector hummed to life, displaying banking records, the real ones, retrieved from Tom's secret vault. Would anyone like to explain why Harrison Technologies funds were used to bribe a mechanic 3 days before my parents' accident? The room went silent. On screen, transaction after transaction scrolled past, proof of their years of manipulation, including Tom's payment to the mechanic who'd later died in his own suspicious accident. Or perhaps, I continued, we should discuss the trust fund conditions? The ones requiring Mark to be married to access his inheritance? Sophie lunged for the podium, but security, my security, hired with Emma's help, blocked her path. You're making a mistake, Mark's voice cracked. We can still fix this. Fix what, Mark? The fraud? The theft? Or my parents' murder? I turned to the shocked crowd. They needed my shares to control the company. My parents wouldn't sell, so they eliminated the problem. Then they arranged our perfect romance, counting on my grief to make me vulnerable. Prove it, Sophie snarled, but her confidence was cracking. Already did. I gestured to the FBI agents emerging from the crowd. Everything's been verified. The agents have been building their case for weeks, ever since you tried to frame me at the board meeting. Linda collapsed into a chair, her carefully maintained facade crumbling. Tom reached for her, but an agent stepped between them. You could have had everything, Mark said quietly, handcuffs clicking around his wrists. We would have given you wealth, status. You killed my parents. My voice didn't shake. You stole my life and tried to destroy me when I discovered the truth. There's not enough wealth in the world to make that right. Sophie struggled against the agents holding her. You think you've won? You're nothing without us. No, Sophie, I was nothing with you. That was the point. I watched them being led away, these people who'd orchestrated my entire life. You taught me how to deceive, manipulate, and destroy. Consider this my final thank you. The room erupted in chaos, reporters pushing forward, board members demanding explanations, police securing evidence. Through it all, I stood at the podium, watching the Harrison family's empire crumble. Tom turned back at the door, his face ashen. How did you know about the safety deposit box? I didn't, I smiled. But I knew you'd never trust electronic records for the really damaging evidence. You're too old school. After that, it was just a matter of following Linda on her weekly visits to the bank. Mark stopped at the threshold, looking back one last time. For a moment, I saw the man I thought I'd married. Before the mask fell away completely. I did love you, he said. In my way. I know. That's what makes this perfect. I raised my glass to him. You taught me that love is the deadliest weapon of all. The doors closed behind them, and the sound echoed through the ballroom like a final heartbeat. Emma appeared at my side, squeezing my hand. Was it worth it? She asked softly. I watched the FBI agents boxing up evidence, the reporters scrambling to break the story, the board members already discussing emergency measures, years of planning, manipulation, and murder, all exposed in a single night. Ask me tomorrow, I said, setting down my untouched champagne. When justice finally feels like enough. The Harrison house stood empty now, a hollow monument to carefully crafted lies. I walked through each room with the estate agent, noting places where family photos once hung, where holiday dinners had been staged, where every moment of warmth had been calculated for maximum effect. The board is offering fair market value, she said, checking her tablet. Given the circumstances, they're eager to distance themselves from the Harrison name. I paused at the study doorway, remembering Mark's face the day they arrested him. I'll take it. Mrs. Harrison, Harmony, she hesitated. Are you sure? After everything that happened here? The trial had dominated headlines for weeks. Mark took a plea deal, turning on his family in exchange for leniency. Sophie faced 20 years for fraud and conspiracy. Tom's confession about my parents' death earned him life without parole. Linda had a breakdown on the witness stand, revealing decades of manipulation and deceit. I'm sure. I ran my hand along the mahogany doorframe. Some things need to be dismantled from the inside. Emma helped me pack up the remaining Harrison belongings. Evidence of a life meticulously designed to trap me. In Linda's closet, we found a box of photographs. Me at college events, long before I met Mark. They'd been studying me, planning their approach for years. What should we do with these? Emma asked. Leave them for the lawyers. I turned away, but something caught my eye. A slight discoloration in the closet's back panel. Wait. The panel swung open easily, revealing a hidden safe. Inside, I found what I'd been searching for since my parents died. Their original will, untampered with, along with letters they'd written about Harrison Technologies' illegal practices. They'd known. They'd been gathering evidence. They didn't just kill them to get their shares, I whispered. They killed them to stop them from exposing everything. Emma touched my arm. Does this change things? No. I closed the safe, tucking the documents away. It just means I finished what they started. The doorbell rang. Detective Morris, holding a thick envelope. Final paperwork from the DA's office, she said, following me to the kitchen. Mark's allocution statement. Thought you might want to read it. I left it unopened on the counter. Did he mention why? Why me specifically? Said you reminded him of someone, a girl from college who turned down his proposal. First time he'd failed at anything, she shrugged. His family helped him destroy her life too, became their pattern. Until now. Until now. She headed for the door, then turned back. The house. What will you do with it? Through the window, I could see the garden where Mark had proposed, where every calculated moment of our relationship had played out like scenes from a script. Turn it into something true, I said. That evening, as Emma left with the last boxes, I stood in the empty foyer. The Harrison legacy lay in ruins, their company reorganized, their reputation destroyed, their carefully constructed world dismantled, piece by piece. They'd taught me everything about revenge, thinking I'd never use it against them. My phone buzzed, a message from Mark's prison email. I underestimated you. I typed back, no, you overestimated yourself. Upstairs, in what was once our bedroom, I found one last surprise, a loose floorboard containing a small box. Inside were photos of my parents, surveillance shots from the days before their death, but behind those was something else. Pictures of me as a child, happy and free, taken years before the Harrisons chose me as their target. They'd watched me grow up waiting for the perfect moment to strike. They'd studied my every weakness, planning to exploit them all. Instead, they'd given me the greatest strength of all, the ability to see through their lies. I placed the box with the other evidence and walked through the house one final time, turning off lights, closing doors. Tomorrow, contractors would begin transforming it into a shelter for survivors of financial abuse. The Harrison name would fade from its walls, replaced by something stronger, truth. Outside, the evening air carried the scent of approaching rain. I locked the door, pocketed the key, and walked away without looking back. They'd tried to write my story, but in the end, I'd rewritten theirs. Some might call it revenge. I called it justice. The rain began to fall, washing away the last traces of the family that had tried to own me. I smiled, feeling the drops on my face, and for the first time in years, every breath tasted like freedom.
The knife slips from my fingers and clatters against the marble countertop, splattering red sauce across my pristine white cookbook. I can hear them in the living room, Mark's voice rising like thunder, Tyler's sharp responses cutting through the walls. My latest blog post has stirred up the hornet's nest, just as I knew it would. I'm Addison, and this is the moment my carefully crafted life begins to splinter. You let her humiliate us online? Tyler's voice cracks with teenage fury. Everyone at school reads her stupid blog. Watch your tone, Mark snaps back. I'm handling this. I wipe my hands slowly on my apron, savoring the tremor of anticipation coursing through me. The post wasn't even that inflammatory. Just a little story about family dynamics gone wrong, sprinkled with carefully chosen details that only they would recognize. The passive-aggressive masterpiece took me 3 days to perfect. Handling it? Like you handle everything else? Tyler's footsteps pound across the hardwood. By pretending nothing's wrong, I step into the doorway, shoulders squared. Mark's face is flushed, his perfectly pressed dress shirt wrinkled from gesturing. Tyler stands near the fireplace, fists clenched, looking so much like his father it makes my stomach turn. Everything okay in here? I keep my voice light, pleasant. The voice of the successful cookbook author and lifestyle blogger they've come to despise. Mark's eyes narrow. Take it down. Take what down, dear? Don't play stupid, Addison. That little story about the controlling father and his puppet son? Real subtle. I lean against the doorframe, crossing my arms. It's fiction, Mark. Creative license. My readers love family drama. Your readers? Tyler spits the words. You mean the thousands of strangers you feed our private lives to? They're called subscribers, honey. And they pay our bills. I smile, watching Mark's jaw clench. He hates that my blog makes more money than his middle management position ever did. I want it gone by morning, Mark says, each word measured and cold. Or we're going to have a serious problem. We already have a serious problem. I straighten up, dropping the pleasant mask. Several, actually. Would you like me to list them alphabetically or chronologically? Tyler storms past me, shoulder checking me hard enough to make me stumble. The stairs thunder under his feet, followed by the slam of his bedroom door. Mark takes 2 steps toward me, close enough that I can smell his cologne, and something else, something floral that definitely isn't mine. You're pushing too far, he whispers. Remember who helped build your precious career. I meet his gaze, steady and unflinching. Remember who's been dismantling it piece by piece? He backs away, straightening his tie. The post comes down, Addison. End of discussion. I watch him grab his keys and briefcase, heading for the door at 9 p.m. Another late night at the office, no doubt. The front door closes with deliberate softness, worse than any slam. Back in the kitchen, I pull up my blog on my tablet. The post has already gone viral, screenshots spreading across social media like wildfire. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't contain it now. My finger hovers over the delete button for a moment before I close the browser. My phone buzzes with a text from Jason. You okay? Saw the post. Call if you need backup. I type back quickly. I'm fine. Everything's going according to plan. The house settles into silence around me, broken only by muffled music from Tyler's room. I pick up the knife again, wiping off the sauce. The blade catches the light, gleaming like a promise. This was just the first cut, surgical and precise. They have no idea what's coming next. I open my laptop and begin typing the next post. This one will be about secrets, lies, and a woman named Rachel who works too closely with her boss. Let's see how Mark handles that tomorrow morning. The old photos mock me from their silver frames, Mark and me on our wedding day, his arm possessively around my waist. Tyler's first baseball game, where Mark coached his team to victory. Happy moments frozen in time, preserved behind glass like museum pieces of a life I barely recognize. I'm arranging dinner plates when Mark finally emerges from his study, phone pressed to his ear. "Yes, we'll review those numbers tomorrow," he says, voice dripping with that honeyed tone he reserves for important calls. "Thanks, Rachel. You're a lifesaver." Rachel. The name hits me like a slap. I've seen it flash across his phone screen too many times lately, always accompanied by that little smile he thinks I don't notice. Important work call?" I keep my voice neutral, sliding a casserole onto the table. Just wrapping up some quarterly projections. He loosens his tie, avoiding my eyes. "Where's Tyler?" "Football practice, though I doubt he's actually there." Mark's head snaps up. "What's that supposed to mean?" "I saw him downtown yesterday with those new friends of his, during practice hours." I serve the food with precise movements, but I'm sure you'll find a way to excuse it. "Don't start, Addison. Not tonight." "When should I start, Mark? When he fails senior year? When he gets arrested?" He slams his hand on the table, making the silverware jump. "Maybe if you hadn't driven him away with your constant criticism." "My criticism?" I laugh, the sound sharp as broken glass. "That's rich, coming from the man who told him my career was just a hobby. Your little cooking blog was supposed to be a hobby. Now it's taken over everything." He stabs at his food. "You've changed." "Into someone you can't control anymore?" The front door slams before he can answer. Tyler storms through, reeking of cigarettes and defiance. His girlfriend Lily trails behind him, looking uncomfortable. "You're late," Mark says. "Practice ran long." Tyler grabs Lily's hand. "We're studying upstairs." "Sit down," I say. "Both of you." "Family dinner isn't optional," Tyler sneers. "We're not family. You made that clear in your blog." "Tyler," Lily whispers, tugging his sleeve. "Maybe we should—" "No." He yanks away from her. "I'm sick of pretending everything's fine. You write about us like we're characters in your stupid stories, twisting everything to make yourself look good." "I write the truth," I say, meeting his glare. "Maybe that's what bothers you both so much." Mark pushes back from the table. "Enough! Tyler, take Lily upstairs. We'll discuss this later." "There's nothing to discuss." Tyler turns to leave, but Lily doesn't move. She's staring at her phone, face pale. "Tyler, you should see this." He grabs the phone, color draining from his face as he reads. Mark's phone buzzes a moment later, then mine. The notifications pop up simultaneously. My latest blog post, already going viral. "You promised to take it down," Mark growls. I promised nothing." I take a slow sip of water. "And this one's different. This one's about a woman named Rachel, and all those late nights at the office." The silence that follows is absolute. Tyler looks between us, realization dawning in his eyes. Lily backs away, mumbling something about calling her mom. Mark's voice drops to a dangerous whisper. "You have no idea what you've started." "Actually, I do." I stand, gathering the untouched plates. "I'm finishing what you started years ago, when you decided I wasn't enough anymore." Tyler bolts upstairs after Lily. Mark grabs his keys, hands shaking with rage. "This ends now," he says. "I'm calling my lawyer." "Good." I smile, sweet as poison. "Tell him to check your company emails while he's at it. I'm sure Rachel's kept copies of everything." He freezes, hand on the doorknob. For a moment, I see fear crack through his perfect facade. Then he's gone, tires squealing in the driveway. I pull out my phone and text Jason. "It's done. Phase 1 complete." His reply comes instantly. "You okay?" I look around the empty dining room, at the family photos that tell such pretty lies. "Never better," I type back. The real fun's about to begin. Upstairs, I hear Tyler's door slam, followed by muffled arguing. Soon he'll discover his private messages with Lily have been leaked too. Nothing too damaging, just enough to show the world who he really is. Like father, like son. I open my laptop and begin drafting tomorrow's post. They think this is about revenge. They have no idea it's about justice. Jason's coffee grows cold as he listens to my plan, his expression darkening with each detail. We're tucked away in the corner of his bookstore, surrounded by towering shelves that muffle our conversation. Mark's lawyer sent another cease and desist, I say, sliding the letter across the table. They're threatening to sue for defamation. Can they prove any of it's false? I shake my head. Everything I wrote is technically true. I just arranged the pieces to tell the right story. The bell above the door chimes. Tyler walks in with Lily, then freezes when he sees me. His face has that hollow look teenagers get when they're carrying too many secrets. Lily tugs at his sleeve, but he shakes her off and storms toward our table. "You're ruining everything," he spits. "Dad's firm is investigating him because of your stupid blog." Jason stands, protective instinct kicking in. "Watch your tone, kid." "It's fine," I say, keeping my voice steady. "Tyler, we should talk about what's really going on. Like you care. You just want revenge because he found someone better." The words hit their mark, but I don't flinch. "Someone better? Is that what he told you about Rachel?" Lily steps forward, her voice barely above a whisper. "Tyler, maybe you should tell her what you saw." He whirls on her. "Shut up! Tell me what?" I look between them, noting how Tyler's hands are shaking. "Nothing," he snaps. "Just stay out of our lives." He grabs Lily's arm, but she pulls away. "I can't keep lying," she says. "It's not just Rachel. There are others." The world tilts slightly. Jason's hand finds my shoulder, steadying me. "You knew?" I ask Tyler. "All this time?" "Dad said you drove him to it." His voice cracks. "Said you were too focused on your career, too busy becoming someone else." "And you believed him?" "I saw the texts," Lily blurts. "On his phone. When he left it at Tyler's game last week. There were at least 3 different women, all from work." Tyler lunges for her phone, but Jason steps between them. "That's enough. Tyler, go cool off." "You're choosing her over family?" Tyler's eyes are bright with unshed tears. "After everything she's done." "She is family," Jason says quietly. "The only one trying to save you from becoming just like him." Tyler backs away, shoulders rigid. "I hate you," he tells me. "I hope he takes everything from you." The bell chimes again as he leaves. Lily stands there, twisting her phone in her hands. "I have screenshots," she says. "If you want them." My fingers curl around my coffee cup, seeking warmth. "Why would you help me?" "Because Tyler's changing, becoming cruel like his dad. Maybe if he sees the truth." She places her phone on the table. "Just don't tell him it came from me." After she leaves, Jason slides the phone toward me. "You don't have to look." "Yes, I do." I unlock the screen, start scrolling through messages that confirm every suspicion, every doubt, every moment of gaslighting I endured. "This is perfect." "Addison." Jason's voice carries a warning. "Think about Tyler." I am thinking about Tyler. He needs to see who his father really is. I forward the screenshots to myself. Mark made him choose sides. Now he'll have to live with that choice. And if this breaks him, then he'll learn what I learned, that sometimes you have to break before you can rebuild. Jason sighs, running a hand through his graying hair. "What's your next move?" I pull out my laptop, fingers hovering over the keys. "A story about fathers and sons, about inherited lies and the weight of choices. He'll come after you harder this time." "Let him." I start typing, each word a bullet in my arsenal. I'm done being the victim in his story. Through the bookstore window, I catch a glimpse of Tyler in the parking lot, slumped against his car. For a moment, I see the little boy who used to beg me to read him bedtime stories. Then he straightens, pulls out his phone, and his face hardens into Mark's mask. "Sometimes," I tell Jason, "the kindest thing you can do for someone is force them to face the truth. The truth I'm crafting will burn through their carefully constructed lies like acid, revealing the rot beneath." Mark thinks he's fighting to save his reputation. He hasn't realized yet that I'm fighting to save his son. The email from Rachel arrives at 3 in the morning. Its timestamp a digital confession of sleepless guilt. I've been waiting for this. The inevitable crack in Mark's carefully constructed facade. My cursor hovers over the attachment labeled Financial Records. My mother's voice echoes in my head from our conversation yesterday. Revenge is like holding onto hot coals, hoping someone else gets burned. I click anyway. The spreadsheets tell a story that makes my published blog posts look like children's fairy tales. Wire transfers, offshore accounts, creative accounting that would make our tax auditor weep. Mark hasn't just been hiding affairs. He's been hiding money, lots of it. My phone buzzes. Derek, our neighbor, whose job at Mark's firm suddenly makes him invaluable. "You need to come over," he says without greeting. "Now." I find him in his garage, surrounded by boxes of documents. His hands shake as he hands me a manila folder. "I was reviewing the quarterly reports when I found these discrepancies. Mark's been cooking the books for years." "And you're showing me because? Because he's setting you up to take the fall." Derek pulls out more papers. "Your signature's on half these documents. Forged, but good enough to fool investigators." The garage feels too small suddenly, the walls pressing in. Why help me? Because 20 years ago, my wife did the same thing to me. I lost everything protecting her reputation. My phone chimes with a text from Tyler. "Dad's having a breakdown. Thanks for destroying our family." "Does Rachel know about this?" I ask Derek. She's the one who helped him set it up, but now she's scared. The SEC's sniffing around. I spread the documents across his workbench, pieces of a puzzle I never wanted to solve. He made me sign blank papers during our marriage, said it was for insurance, tax stuff. I trusted him. Trust is a weapon in the wrong hands. Another text from Tyler. "He's drinking again. If anything happens to him, it's your fault." Derek watches me read it. "Mark was at the bar last night, telling anyone who'd listen that you're trying to destroy him. He's unraveling." Good. But my voice lacks conviction. Is it? Because right now, you're holding evidence of major financial fraud, and your fingerprints are all over it. I start taking photos of the documents with trembling hands. I need to call Jason. "Your friend, the bookstore owner? What's he going to do?" "His brother's a federal prosecutor." I pause, remembering something. "And he keeps records of everything." I pull up my old emails, searching for specific dates. There, copies of every document Mark had me sign, sent to Jason just in case. Proof of my innocence, carefully preserved by paranoia, I didn't even know I had. My phone rings. It's Lily. "Tyler's gone," she says, crying. "He took his dad's gun and some money. He left a note saying he's going to fix everything." The photos slip from my hand, scattering across the concrete floor. "What kind of note?" "Like a goodbye note." "Please, I don't know what to do." Derek's already grabbing his keys. I'll drive. We peel out of the driveway as I dial Mark's number. Straight to voicemail. I try Rachel next. "Where's Mark?" "How should I know?" But her voice wavers. "Tyler has his gun, Rachel. This isn't about affairs or money anymore." A sharp intake of breath. "He said he was meeting Tyler at the lake house. Something about proving his love for you both." I hang up, turn to Derek. "The lake house. Fast." My phone lights up with a final text from Tyler. "You wanted to break him. Congratulations. Now watch what happens." The revenge I thought I wanted tastes like ashes in my mouth. I'd planned to destroy Mark's reputation, his career, his comfortable lies. Instead, I might have destroyed something far more precious. Derek pushes the speedometer higher as storm clouds gather overhead. "What's your play here?" "I don't know anymore." I stare at the darkening sky, remembering Tyler as a child, learning to swim in that lake. I just know I can't let him become his father's last victim. Or mine. The lake house looms dark against the stormy sky, its windows reflecting lightning like camera flashes. Derek kills the headlights as we pull up, gravel crunching under the tires. Mark's car sits empty in the driveway, driver's door still open. "Call the police," Derek says. I shake my head. "They'll escalate things." Tyler's scared enough. Inside, rain drums against the roof as we move through rooms thick with memories. Family vacations, holiday gatherings, moments when we actually felt like a real family. A half-empty whiskey bottle on the kitchen counter leaves no doubt about Mark's state of mind. "Dad?" Tyler's voice echoes from upstairs, raw and desperate. "Is that you?" Derek reaches for his phone, but I grab his wrist. "Let me handle this." "Addison," Mark's voice now, slurred but dangerous. "Come up and see what you've done to your family." I start up the stairs, each step creaking like an accusation. Derek follows, despite my gesture to stay back. "Tyler," I call out, "we can talk about this." "Talk?" Tyler laughs, bitter and broken. "Like your blog talks about us? Making us into characters for your revenge story?" I reach the top landing. They're in the master bedroom. Tyler by the window, Mark slumped in an armchair. The gun rests on Tyler's lap, his fingers tracing its outline. "Put it down, son," Derek says from behind me. "Don't call me that." Tyler's hand tightens on the weapon. "You're just another one of her allies, everyone taking her side while Dad loses everything." "Your father chose this path," I say, taking a careful step forward. "The affairs, the fraud." "Shut up!" Mark lurches from his chair. "You think you know everything? You think your little exposé makes you righteous?" "I know about Rachel," I say, "and the others. I know about the offshore accounts." Tyler's head snaps up. "What accounts?" "Don't listen to her," Mark sways, reaching for the gun. "She's trying to turn you against me, like she always has. By telling the truth." My voice rises despite myself. "Show him the transfers, Mark. Show him how you've been stealing from his college fund to pay off your mistresses." The gun wavers in Tyler's grip. "Dad?" Lightning flashes, illuminating Mark's face, no longer handsome, just hollow and afraid. "I was protecting us. Everything I did was for this family." "Was Rachel for the family?" The words taste like poison. "The accountant before her? The intern?" "Stop it!" Tyler stands, gun pointed at the floor. "Just stop destroying everything." "Your father already destroyed it," Derek says quietly. "Addison just exposed the wreckage." Mark lunges suddenly, grabbing for the gun. Tyler stumbles back, startled. The weapon discharges with a deafening crack. Time fragments like broken glass. Derek tackles Mark. Tyler drops the gun, horror spreading across his face, and I'm pressing my hands against Mark's shoulder, blood seeping between my fingers, while he stares up at me with something between hatred and recognition. "You won," he whispers. "Happy now?" Tyler backs away, shaking. "I didn't mean... I never wanted..." "Call an ambulance," I tell Derek, maintaining pressure on the wound. "Tyler, look at me. This isn't your fault. Everything's my fault," he says. "That's what you've been writing all along, isn't it? How I'm becoming him." Sirens wail in the distance as rain pounds against the windows. Mark's blood feels warm against my cold hands, and I remember other moments of intimacy turn to violence. Not physical, but emotional wounds that never quite healed. "I wanted justice," I tell Tyler, my voice steady despite everything. "But not like this. Never like this." He slides down the wall, wrapping his arms around his knees like he did as a child after nightmares. What happens now? I look at Mark, barely conscious, then at Derek calling emergency services, and finally at Tyler, 17 and terrified, caught in the crossfire of adult vendettas. "Now we tell the truth," I say. "All of it. No more blogs, no more secrets. Just reality, however ugly it is." Lightning flashes again, and in that stark moment, I see my revenge for what it really is. Not justice, but a poison that's touched everyone I claim to be protecting. The sirens grow closer, promising questions I'm not sure how to answer. But as I hold pressure on Mark's wound, I realize some answers matter more than others, like how to stop a cycle of destruction before it claims another generation. The hospital waiting room smells like bleach and broken promises. Tyler sits 3 chairs away, handcuffed to a police officer, while Rachel paces by the vending machines in her designer heels. The click, click, click of her steps matches my heartbeat. Mrs. Harrison? The detective's badge catches the fluorescent light. We need to discuss the financial documents found at the lake house. My hands still feel sticky with Mark's blood. Now? Your fingerprints are on multiple fraudulent documents, and given your blog posts, we have evidence of premeditation. Tyler's head snaps up. Premeditation? Your stepmother may have orchestrated this entire situation. The detective's words cut through the antiseptic air. Including the shooting. Rachel stops pacing. I told you she was dangerous. Mark said a lot of things. I stand, legs shaking. Check the dates on those documents. Check the signatures. We did. He pulls out his phone, showing me an email. Including this one, where you discussed making him pay with someone named Jason. My stomach drops. Our private conversations, carefully encrypted, now twisted into evidence. Jason's support becoming a weapon against me. It wasn't her fault. Tyler's voice cracks. I'm the one who... Don't. I cut him off. Don't say another word. The surgery doors swing open. Evelyn hurries in, her face ashen. Addison, what have you done? Mom, They're charging you with conspiracy and attempted murder. Her hands tremble as she clutches her purse. The police just searched your house. They found everything. Everything? Rachel steps closer, vulture-like. The offshore account records, the forged documents, the emails about... Evelyn falters. About making it look like an accident. The detective moves toward me. Mrs. Harrison, you need to come with us. Those emails weren't about Mark. My voice sounds distant, hollow. They were about exposing the fraud. I was gathering evidence. While publicly threatening him on your blog? Rachel laughs sharply. You documented your entire revenge fantasy for the world to see. Tyler struggles against his handcuffs. She's lying. Dad was the one who... Tyler, stop. I meet his eyes, seeing the scared little boy beneath the anger. Don't make this worse. But they're twisting everything. He turns to the detective. She was protecting me. Dad was the one with the gun. He had defensive wounds consistent with being attacked. The detective finishes. And a history of being harassed by his ex-wife. Rachel produces her phone. I have texts from Mark saying he was afraid of what she might do. Of course she does. They planned this, probably from the moment I started the blog. Every post I wrote, every piece of evidence I gathered, now weaponized against me. Addison. Evelyn's voice breaks. Please tell me you didn't plan this. I look at my mother's face, at Tyler's desperate eyes, at Rachel's triumphant smile. The revenge I thought I controlled has spiraled into something monstrous, consuming everything in its path. I need my lawyer, I say quietly. The detective produces handcuffs. Mrs. Harrison, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, financial fraud, and... She was protecting me, Tyler shouts, tears streaming now. Dad was stealing my college fund. He was lying about everything. Tyler, enough! My voice comes out sharper than intended. This isn't your fault, any of it. As the detective reads my rights, I catch a glimpse of Mark's surgeon approaching. His expression tells me Mark will survive. Another twist of the knife. He'll live to spin his version of events, to play the victim while I face charges. Mom, I whisper as they lead me away. Take care of Tyler. Rachel's heels click, click, click behind us, probably already planning her next move. The detective's grip tightens as we pass the emergency room where Mark lies, surrounded by machines and morphine dreams. My revenge has come full circle, transforming me from victim to villain in one pull of a trigger. As the hospital doors slide open to a wall of waiting reporters, I realize Mark has won after all. He's made me into exactly what he always claimed I was, a monster of his own creation. The cameras flash like lightning at the lake house, capturing my fall from grace in high definition. The visiting room at the county jail smells like desperation and cheap coffee. Mark sits across from me, his arm in a sling, looking smaller without his expensive suits and practiced charm. Rachel hovers by the door like a well-dressed vulture, while our lawyers exchange whispers at opposite ends of the table. "You could have killed me," Mark says. "You're thinking of Tyler, the son you manipulated into pulling that trigger." His good hand clenches. "I want to make a deal." "No deals," Rachel interrupts. "We have her exactly where—" "Shut up!" Mark's voice carries an edge I haven't heard before. "This ends today." My lawyer slides a document across the table. "Full confession of the financial fraud. Sign it." "And destroy myself?" Mark laughs, but it sounds hollow. "That's your play?" I lean forward, keeping my voice steady. "Check your phone, Rachel. The SEC just received some interesting emails." She fumbles with her designer purse, face paling as she reads. "Mark, she's bluffing. She couldn't have—" "Derek kept copies of everything," I say. "Every transaction, every forged document, every deleted email, including the ones where you two planned to frame me." Mark's facade cracks slightly. "You're in custody. They have evidence. They have what you wanted them to see." I slide another paper forward. "But Tyler's girlfriend had her own evidence. The texts where you admitted stealing his college fund, where you planned this whole setup." Rachel moves toward the door, but a guard blocks her path. "It's over, Mark." My hands are steady now. "Sign the confession, or I release everything, not just to the SEC, but to every media outlet that's been following this story." "You'll go down with us," Rachel snaps. "Maybe, but Tyler won't." I meet Mark's eyes. "That's the difference between us. I'm willing to burn if it means protecting him from becoming you." Mark stares at the confession, jaw working. "You planned this. Even in custody, you were still learning from the master of manipulation?" I smile without warmth. "You taught me well." A commotion outside draws everyone's attention. Through the window, I see Tyler being led in by officers, Lily and my mother beside him. He looks different, older, harder, but somehow clearer. "He's here to testify," my lawyer says, "about everything. The gun, the threats, the money, all of it." Mark's face crumples. "Tyler wouldn't—" "Already did." I push a pen toward him. "Your choice now. Sign and face the fraud charges alone, or let your son tell the world what kind of father you really are." Rachel grabs her things. "I'm calling my lawyer." "Too late." My lawyer holds up his phone. "The SEC has already frozen your accounts, both sets of them." Mark picks up the pen with trembling fingers. As he signs, I see the man I once loved, weak, scared, finally facing consequences. The victory tastes like ash. "Was it worth it?" he asks, pushing the signed confession back. "Destroying our family for revenge?" "You destroyed us long ago." I stand as the guards move in. "I just made sure Tyler survived the wreckage." Through the window, I watch Tyler hug Lily, his shoulders straight, no longer carrying his father's weight. My mother catches my eye, nodding once, proud, sad, understanding. Rachel's taken into custody first, her designer heels clicking one last time on the concrete floor. Mark follows, pausing at the door. "I did love you," he says. "Once." "No." I gather the confession, my ticket to freedom. "You loved controlling me. There's a difference." The guards lead him away as my lawyer starts making calls. In minutes, the charges against me will be dropped. In hours, the true story will hit the news. By tomorrow, Mark and Rachel's carefully constructed world will be ashes. But watching Tyler through the glass, seeing him choose truth over loyalty, justice over protection, I realized this was never about revenge. It was about breaking cycles, about showing him a different kind of strength. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in destroying your enemy, but in refusing to become them. The guard comes to release me, and I step toward my future, leaving the taste of revenge behind. Steam rises from the hot springs like memories trying to escape. My mother sits beside me, her silver hair gleaming in the sunset, while Tyler and Lily splash in the deeper pool nearby. Their laughter echoes against the mountains, young and uncertain, but healing. Rachel made a deal with prosecutors, I tell my mother, watching ripples spread across the water. Full testimony against Mark in exchange for reduced charges. She nods, understanding the weight of what I'm not saying. And the blog? Deleted. Some stories need to end. Tyler swims closer, his face more open than I've seen it in years. Jason called. Dad's sentencing is tomorrow. Are you going? I ask. No. He looks at Lily, then back at me. But I wrote him a letter about everything. The water feels warmer suddenly, or maybe it's the pride warming my chest. Tyler chose truth over loyalty, strength over anger. He's becoming someone different than his father, than the angry boy who once pointed a gun at shadows. I knew about Mark's affairs, my mother says quietly. Long before you did. The admission hangs in the steam between us. Why didn't you tell me? Because you needed to find your own strength, not have it handed to you like some inherited wisdom. Tyler and Lily drift back to their pool, their whispered conversation carrying traces of future plans, college, dreams, possibilities unmarred by the past. I found this in the lake house. My mother pulls a photograph from her robe pocket. Mark and me on our wedding day, his arm around my waist. Both of us smiling at a future we couldn't see clearly. You should burn it, Tyler calls over. But there's no bitterness in his voice now. No. I let the photo float on the water. Some things shouldn't burn. They should just float away. My phone buzzes. Derek texting updates about the SEC investigation. I silence it without reading. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, legal battles, the slow untangling of financial webs. But tonight belongs to steam and stars and the sound of young love learning to trust again. You never told me, my mother says, if the revenge was worth it. I watch Tyler teach Lily to float, his hands gentle under her back, nothing like Mark's controlling grip. It wasn't revenge in the end. It was revolution. Against what? Lies. Control. The stories we tell ourselves about love and loyalty. I sink deeper into the water. I thought I wanted to destroy Mark, but I really wanted to free Tyler and myself. A shooting star streaks overhead, and Lily makes a wish out loud. Something about future happiness that makes Tyler blush. My mother squeezes my hand under the water, a gesture that speaks of pride and understanding and the quiet strength of women who survive. Your new book, she says. Will it tell this story? Not directly, but it'll be about transformation, about turning poison into medicine. The steam thickens as night falls, blurring boundaries between water and air, past and future. Somewhere in a jail cell, Mark awaits sentencing. His carefully constructed world collapsed into concrete walls. Rachel faces her own reckoning, her ambition turned to ashes in her designer mouth. But here, in this moment, their shadows can't reach us. Tyler laughs at something Lily whispers, the sound pure and unguarded. My mother hums an old lullaby, one she used to sing when nightmares came. And I feel the last traces of bitterness dissolve in the mineral-rich water. I have something to tell you both, I say, drawing their attention. I'm selling the lake house. Tyler's expression flickers. Where will we go for holidays? I bought a small cottage by the ocean. I meet his eyes. Sometimes you need salt water to heal old wounds. He nods, understanding the metaphor, the need to build something new from the ground up. Lily squeezes his hand, and my mother smiles, the kind of smile that says she knew all along where this journey would lead. The stars multiply overhead, reflecting in the dark water like scattered diamonds. Tomorrow will bring its own challenges, but tonight we float in transformation, letting the warm water wash away the last echoes of retribution, replacing them with something stronger than revenge. Hope.
I stand in front of the mirror, adjusting the black dress that belonged to my mother before she became someone I barely recognize. The fabric feels like a stranger's skin against mine, just like this whole evening feels like a carefully orchestrated lie. My name is Morgan, and tonight I'm supposed to play the role of the happy daughter at my mother's engagement party. The invitation arrived 3 days ago, wrapped in cream-colored paper that probably cost more than my weekly groceries. No prior warning. No family discussion. Just a fancy piece of paper announcing that Grace Carter would become Grace Mitchell. Morgan, sweetheart, are you ready? Mother's voice floats up the stairs, syrupy sweet, the way it gets when she wants something. The guests are arriving. I dig my nails into my palms. Coming. The house smells different now, like expensive perfume and unfamiliar cologne. Gone are the traces of Dad's favorite coffee and his old leather armchair. Mother had it removed last month, claiming it didn't match the new decor. Just like that, 17 years of morning conversations with Dad, wiped away with the interior decorator's wave. I descend the stairs, each step measured and deliberate. The foyer bustles with caterers and event staff, transforming our home into something out of a lifestyle magazine. Mother stands at the center of it all, radiant in her designer dress, her hand intertwined with Henry Mitchell's, her new beginning, my nightmare. There you are. She beckons me over, her smile too bright, too practiced. Henry's daughter Olivia is dying to meet you. A girl emerges from behind Henry, all perfect curls and calculated warmth. 15 going on 30, wearing a dress that probably costs more than my college fund. I always wanted a sister, she says, her voice dripping with rehearsed enthusiasm. I force my face into what I hope passes for a smile. How nice. Henry clears his throat, his hand possessive on Mother's waist. Grace tells me you're finishing high school this year, Morgan. Any thoughts about college? Dad's alma mater, I answer automatically. He always said, "Oh, honey," Mother interrupts. "We should discuss that later. The Petersons just arrived." And just like that, I'm dismissed, relegated to the background of their perfect family portrait. I watch as Mother glides through the crowd, introducing her new family to our old friends. Each time she says, "My daughter Morgan," it sounds more like an afterthought. I retreat to the kitchen, seeking refuge among the catering staff. Through the service window, I catch glimpses of the party. Olivia charming Dad's old colleagues, Henry commanding attention with stories of his business success, Mother laughing at all the right moments. They make quite the picture, don't they? I turn to find Thomas, my grandfather, studying me with knowing eyes. He's the only one who still looks at me the same way he did before Dad died. "Did you know?" I ask, my voice barely steady. "About the engagement?" He shakes his head, his expression grim. "Found out same time as you, kid. Your mother's always been good at keeping secrets when it suits her." Through the window, I watch as Henry raises his glass. "To new beginnings," he announces, and the crowd echoes his toast. Mother beams, but her eyes dart around the room, seeking me out. When she finds me watching from the kitchen, something flickers across her face. Guilt, perhaps, or maybe just annoyance at my absence from her perfect moment. "Your father would be proud of you," Grandpa Thomas says quietly, "standing your ground." I grip the counter edge until my knuckles turn white. She's erasing him, Grandpa. Everything he was, everything he wanted for us, she's just replacing it all. Then don't let her. His voice carries the weight of promise. Your father left more than just memories, Morgan. When the time comes, you'll understand. I look at him sharply, but he's already turning away, leaving me with questions I'm not sure I want answered. In the other room, Mother's laugh rings out, artificial and sharp like breaking glass. This isn't just about an engagement anymore. This is about preservation, of memories, of promises, of everything Dad held dear. And if Mother thinks she can simply write over our past with her golden future, she's about to learn exactly how much of him lives on in me. The lock clicks differently now. That's the first thing I notice when I return home from school. The sound is wrong, like everything else since the engagement party 3 days ago. I push open the door and freeze. My room isn't my room anymore. Pale pink walls have replaced the deep blue I picked with Dad. My photography collection, carefully curated over years, has vanished, replaced by fashion magazine cutouts and selfies of Olivia with her friends. My desk, where I spent countless nights studying, now holds a vanity mirror bordered with LED lights. "Do you like it?" Olivia appears behind me, her voice honey-sweet. "Your mother said I could redecorate since you'll be leaving for college soon anyway." I turn slowly, my hands trembling. "Where are my things?" "Oh, those old photos?" She waves dismissively. "Grace packed them away somewhere. The basement, I think. She said we needed to modernize the space." The basement, where forgotten things go to die. I brush past her, taking the stairs 2 at a time. Mother stands in the kitchen, arranging flowers in a crystal vase I've never seen before. Morgan, perfect timing. Henry and Olivia are joining us for dinner. Could you set the table? My room. I manage through clenched teeth. You gave away my room. She doesn't look up from her flowers. Don't be dramatic. We're all going to be family soon. Olivia needs her own space, and you'll be gone in a few months anyway. Gone? The word tastes bitter. I haven't even applied to colleges yet. About that. She finally meets my eyes. Henry thinks it might be best if you consider community college first, with the wedding expenses and Olivia's private school tuition. The vase wobbles as my hands slam against the counter. Private school? What about my college fund? Morgan. Her voice sharpens. Henry is being incredibly generous, taking us both in. The least we can do is ensure Olivia gets the best education possible. The least we can do? I laugh, but it sounds more like breaking glass. That money was from Dad. He saved it for my education. Your father isn't here anymore. She straightens her designer blouse, another new addition to her wardrobe. We need to think about the future, not cling to the past. The front door opens, and Henry's voice booms through the house. Something smells wonderful. Mother's face transforms instantly, softening into the perfect hostess. In the kitchen, darling. I watch as Henry sweeps in, kissing her cheek before nodding at me. Morgan, how was school? Before I can answer, Olivia bounces in. Daddy, wait until you see my new room. Grace helped me pick everything out. It's absolutely perfect. My room, I correct quietly. No one seems to hear. Dinner is a performance. Mother and Henry discuss wedding plans while Olivia interjects with suggestions about colors and flowers. I push food around my plate, wondering if Dad's ghost is watching this travesty from somewhere. Oh, and Morgan, Henry says between bites. I've arranged for you to intern at my friend's local newspaper this summer. Good experience for community college. My fork clatters against the plate. I already have summer plans. Photography workshop in New York. That expensive program? Mother frowns. We discussed this. It's not practical anymore. Dad promised, I start. Well, he's not here to keep that promise, is he? The words slice through the air, leaving silence in their wake. I stand up so quickly my chair tips backward. No, he's not. And you're making damn sure I never forget that. Morgan. Mother's shock seems genuine, as if she can't fathom why I'm upset. I back away from the table, from these strangers wearing family masks. I'm going to Grandpa Thomas's. Don't be ridiculous, Mother calls after me. You can't just leave in the middle of dinner. But I'm already grabbing my keys, my phone, anything within reach. Behind me, I hear Olivia's staged whisper. Is she always this dramatic? The drive to Grandpa's takes 12 minutes. I know because I count every second, trying to breathe through the rage and grief fighting in my chest. His porch light is on, like always, a beacon in the growing dark. He opens the door before I knock, one look at my face telling him everything he needs to know. They redecorated your room, didn't they? I nod, words stuck somewhere between anger and tears. Come on in, kid. He steps aside. I've got some things to show you about your father's estate, things your mother doesn't know about yet. For the first time today, I feel something like hope. Grandpa Thomas spreads the papers across his kitchen table, each document a piece of the puzzle Dad left behind. Bank statements, insurance policies, property deeds, a paper trail of promises I never knew existed. Your father wasn't just thinking about college, Grandpa says, tapping a particular document. He set up a trust, one your mother can't touch. My hands shake as I read the numbers. This can't be right. James was always smarter than Grace gave him credit for. Grandpa's voice carries a hint of satisfaction. He knew she'd try to control your future someday. The front door chimes, interrupting our conversation. Through the window, I spot Mother's Mercedes in the driveway, its pristine surface reflecting the setting sun like a warning. Morgan, her voice rings through the house. I know you're here. We need to talk about your behavior. Grandpa Thomas meets my eyes. Your choice, kid. Face her now or wait. I gather the papers, sliding them into my backpack. Now, I'm done running. Mother stands in the living room, designer purse clutched like a shield. This tantrum needs to stop. Henry and Olivia are trying so hard to welcome you into the family. By stealing my college fund? The words taste like acid. That money is going toward building our future together. She steps closer, reaching for my arm. Morgan, please try to understand. Henry can provide opportunities we never had before. You mean opportunities for Olivia? I pull away. Show her the trust fund documents, Grandpa. He hands them over without a word. Mother's face changes as she reads. Confusion, then shock, then something darker. This isn't possible, she whispers. James didn't have this kind of money. Dad had a lot of things you didn't know about. I watch her carefully. Including the house deed. Did you tell Henry it's still in Dad's name? That you can't sell it without my signature when I turn 18? The papers crumple in her grip. You're 17. I'm still your legal guardian. For 8 more months, I take a step forward. Long enough to watch you and Henry waste my college fund on Olivia's private school? I don't think so. You ungrateful... She catches herself, smoothing her expression. Morgan, everything I've done has been for us, for our security. No. The certainty in my voice surprises even me. Everything you've done has been for you. Dad made sure I'd have choices, Mother, real ones, not the scraps you and Henry decide to throw my way. Her phone buzzes, probably Henry wondering where she is. She glances at it, then back at me, calculation replacing anger. We can discuss this later when you're thinking clearly. She turns to leave, then pauses. But remember who's still in charge for the next 8 months. Don't push me, Morgan. After she's gone, Grandpa Thomas settles into his armchair. She'll try something now. You know that, right? I nod, already scrolling through my phone. That's why I'm calling Dad's lawyer, the one you recommended. Smart girl. He smiles, but it doesn't reach his eyes. Your father would be proud. But Morgan? Yeah? Watch out for Olivia. She's more like her father than your mother realizes. I think of my transformed bedroom, of Olivia's calculated innocence. I know, but they don't know what I know now. Just be careful. He coughs, a rough sound that makes me look at him sharply. This kind of fight, it changes people. I'm already changed. I touch the trust fund papers in my bag. They just don't know it yet. That night I drive past our house, my house, technically. Through the window I see them, Mother, Henry, and Olivia, gathered around the dinner table like a perfect family portrait. Olivia catches my eye and waves, all sugar-sweet venom. I don't wave back. Instead, I take a photo with my phone, documenting this moment. The calm before the storm they don't see coming. Let them play house. Let them think they've won. In 8 months, they'll learn what Dad always taught me. The quiet ones, the ones you underestimate, they're the ones you should watch out for. I start the car, but before I pull away, I send the photo to Mother with a simple message. Enjoy my college fund while you can. Time's running out. Then I block her number and drive back to Grandpa's house, where the real planning can begin. The local coffee shop becomes my refuge, a place where I can spread out college applications and scholarship forms without Mother's disapproving shadow. I've been living at Grandpa's for 2 weeks now, each day a small victory in reclaiming my life. Your usual? Sarah, the barista, already has my order started. Thanks. I pull out Dad's old laptop, the one thing I managed to save before Olivia's invasion. Double shot today. Rough morning? Before I can answer, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. A photo appears. My childhood bedroom, now completely gutted. The caption reads, "Making space for my dance studio. Hope you didn't leave anything important behind." Oh, my hands clench around the phone. Through the window, I spot Henry's Mercedes idling across the street, Olivia in the passenger seat, phone still raised. She waves, all innocence and spite. Morgan? Sarah sets down my coffee. You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Something like that. I force myself to look away from the window. Hey, are you still looking for weekend help? She brightens. Actually, yeah. You interested? Very. I need money that Mother can't control, a backup plan she can't touch. The bell above the door chimes. Grandpa Thomas walks in, but something's wrong. His usual steady stride is slower, more deliberate. He spots me and manages a smile that doesn't quite mask his exhaustion. Thought I'd find you here. He settles into the chair across from me, waving off my concerned look. just the stares giving these old bones trouble. Grandpa, don't. He pulls out a thick manila envelope. We have more important things to discuss. Your father's lawyer called. My coffee goes cold as we review the documents. Dad's trust fund is ironclad, but there's a catch. I can't access it until I'm 18 or enrolled in college, whichever comes first. Mother's trying to delay my college applications, I realize. That's why she keeps pushing community college. She wants to control the money as long as possible. Grandpa nods grimly. But there's something else. He slides over another document, this one yellowed with age. The house deed has a clause your mother doesn't know about. If she remarries while you're still a minor, control of the property goes to a trust managed by you, I breathe, understanding dawning. Dad made you the trustee. Smart man, your father. Grandpa's pride is evident. He knew Grace better than she thought. My phone buzzes again. Mother this time. I silence it without looking. They're going to fight this, I say. Count on it. He coughs, a rough sound that makes my chest tighten. That's why we need to move fast. The wedding's in 6 weeks. Grandpa, are you sure you're... I'm fine. He waves off my concern again, but I catch the slight tremor in his hand. Focus on what matters. Get those applications done. I'll handle the legal side. The bell chimes again. Henry walks in, all corporate confidence and calculated charm. Not a coincidence, then. They followed me here. Morgan, Thomas. He nods to us both. Grace is worried sick, you know. This rebellion has gone on long enough. I start gathering my papers, but Grandpa's hand on my arm stops me. We're not finished here, Henry. Actually, I think you are. Henry's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Grace mentioned you've been feeling under the weather lately, Thomas. Perhaps you should focus on your health rather than encouraging Morgan's difficult phase. The threat hangs in the air, subtle but clear. Interesting concern, Grandpa replies mildly. I'm well enough to execute my duties as trustee, though, both legal and ethical ones. Henry's smile falters for just a moment. Trustee? Morgan, show him the deed clause. Grandpa's voice carries a strength I haven't heard in days. The one about remarriage and property rights. I slide the document across the table, watching Henry's face as he reads. His composed mask cracks, just slightly, but it's enough. We'll have our lawyers review this, he says finally, his tone carefully neutral. Please do. Grandpa stands, steadier now despite his earlier weakness. And Henry? Tell Grace that if anything happens to me before the wedding, everything goes directly to Morgan. Immediately. I've made sure of that. As Henry leaves, I turn to my grandfather. Did Dad really plan all this? Your father knew the value of a good backup plan. He smiles, but I catch the flash of pain he tries to hide. Now, about those college applications. I open my laptop again, but my eyes stay on Grandpa, worry gnawing at my chest. We're winning this battle, but I can't shake the feeling that we're running out of time. The acceptance letter from Dad's alma mater sits on Grandpa's kitchen table like a time bomb, full scholarship, everything Dad ever wanted for me, everything Mother tried to prevent. I haven't told her yet. Grandpa shuffles in, his morning paper tucked under his arm. The shuffling is new, like his cough, like the way he grips furniture when he thinks I'm not looking. He's getting worse, but neither of us acknowledges it. Big day, he says, nodding at the letter. Your father would be proud. Mother's lawyer called again. I push my untouched coffee aside. They want a meeting, all of us. He settles into his chair with a barely concealed wince. Of course they do, the wedding's in 2 weeks. The doorbell interrupts us. Through the window, I spot Mother's Mercedes, but it's Henry who stands on the porch, alone for once. Morgan. He nods as I open the door. Thomas, may I come in? Grandpa waves him toward the kitchen, where my acceptance letter lies exposed. Henry's eyes fix on the university letterhead, his expression tightening. Congratulations, he says smoothly, though I assume you haven't accepted yet. Actually, before you do, he interrupts, I have a proposition, one that could benefit everyone. Grandpa's hand tightens on his coffee cup. Careful, Henry. It's quite simple. Henry pulls out a checkbook. Defer college for a year. Let Grace have her wedding, let the dust settle. In return, I'll personally fund your education, any school you choose. You mean let the trust fund stay under Mother's control? I mean, give your mother this one thing. His voice softens. She's trying, Morgan, in her way. By stealing my college fund? By erasing Dad from our lives? By surviving. He writes something on a check, slides it across the table. This could end the fighting, give everyone a fresh start. The amount makes my breath catch. More than the trust fund, more than I'd need for any university. And all I have to do is disappear for a year? My voice sounds distant to my own ears. Let Mother play happy families while Olivia takes over my life? Think of it as an investment in peace. Grandpa starts coughing, deep, racking coughs that shake his whole body. I rush to get his water, but he waves me off. I'm fine. He manages between coughs. Just need a minute. Henry watches this exchange with calculated interest. Thomas, perhaps you should see a doctor. Grace mentioned you've been unwell. I don't need... Another coughing fit cuts him off. Actually, Henry continues, I know an excellent specialist. I'd be happy to arrange an appointment. Consider it part of our agreement. The manipulation is so obvious, it burns. I look at Grandpa, at the way his hands shake, at the pallor of his skin, then at the check, at the acceptance letter that represents everything I've fought for. Morgan. Grandpa's voice is steady despite his weakness. Remember what your father said about shortcuts. This isn't a shortcut, Henry interjects. It's a compromise, one that could help everyone, including Thomas. I pick up the check, feel its weight in my hands. Think about Grandpa's worsening health, about Mother's determination to control my future, about Olivia's smirking victory. Then I tear it in half. No deal. I meet Henry's startled gaze. I'm accepting the scholarship. I'm keeping the house. And if anything happens to Grandpa, anything at all, every lawyer in the state will know exactly who to investigate. Henry's mask slips, just for a moment. You're making a mistake. No, you are. I gather the torn pieces of his check. You thought you could buy me off like you bought Mother, but Dad taught me better than that. Your father is dead, he says flatly. And Thomas, well, time will tell. The threat hangs in the air as he leaves. When his car pulls away, Grandpa reaches for my hand. You okay, kid? I'm not. I'm terrified of losing him, of facing Mother's fury, of fighting this battle alone. But I think of Dad, of his quiet strength, of the legacy he left me to protect. I need to make some calls, I say instead, starting with Dad's lawyer. Grandpa nods, understanding everything I'm not saying. Whatever happens next, Morgan, remember, you're your father's daughter. I look at the acceptance letter again, at my future written in black and white. 2 weeks until the wedding. 2 weeks to prepare for whatever Henry and Mother are planning. 2 weeks to make sure I don't lose everything, or everyone, I have left. The funeral home smells like Mother's expensive perfume and false sympathy. Grandpa Thomas died 3 days before her wedding, his heart giving out in the quiet hours of mourning while I slept down the hall. Now I stand beside his casket, watching Mother work the room like it's another social event. Such a tragedy, she keeps saying. At least he lived to see Morgan get into college. The college acceptance letter sits in my pocket, creased and worn. Grandpa insisted I bring it today, his last coherent request before the end. I didn't understand why until Dad's lawyer approached me an hour ago, envelope in hand. Your grandfather was very specific about the timing, he said quietly, to be opened at the memorial, not before. Now the envelope burns in my other pocket, waiting. Morgan. Henry materializes beside me, his voice low. Grace would like you to say a few words. Family unity, especially today. I turn to face him. The wedding's tomorrow. Couldn't even wait a week. Life goes on. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. Thomas would have understood. Thomas understood everything. I pull out the envelope, including you. Before he can respond, Mother calls everyone to attention. She stands at the podium, elegant in designer black, Olivia at her side like a shadow. We're here to celebrate Thomas's life, she begins. A wonderful father, grandfather, and trustee. I step forward, breaking protocol, breaking the perfect facade she's built. Maybe we should talk about that part. The room goes quiet. Mother's smile freezes. Morgan, sweetheart, this isn't the time. Actually, it's exactly the time. I open the envelope, hands steady despite everything. Grandpa Thomas left instructions about the house, about the trust fund, about everything. Henry moves toward me, but I'm already reading. In the event of my death, all trustee responsibilities transfer immediately to Morgan Carter, effective on her 18th birthday in 3 months. Until then, all assets are frozen. Mother's composure cracks. That's impossible. She's still a minor. With a court-appointed guardian. Dad's lawyer steps forward. Me. Thomas arranged it last week. The whispers start. I watch Mother's carefully constructed world crumble in real time. Olivia's smirk vanishes. Henry's mask slips completely. You can't do this, Mother hisses, grabbing my arm. This is my house, my life. It was Dad's house. I pull away. And Grandpa protected it, just like he protected me. The wedding tomorrow? You can have it anywhere but there. You ungrateful. She catches herself, aware of the audience. Everything I've done was for us, for your future. No. My voice breaks just a little. Everything you've done was for you. And now you've lost it all. The next moments blur. Mother crying perfectly orchestrated tears. Henry making urgent phone calls. Olivia's venomous glare as their perfect plan implodes. I step outside, needing air, needing space. The autumn wind carries leaves across the parking lot, red and gold, like the ones Grandpa and I used to collect. The grief hits then, a physical force that drives me to my knees. Morgan, Dad's lawyer, no, my guardian now, touches my shoulder. There's more. Thomas left you a letter. Another envelope. My hands shake as I open it, recognizing Grandpa's unsteady handwriting. My dear Morgan, by now they've shown their true colors. Your mother will try to paint me as senile. Henry will threaten legal action, and you'll feel more alone than ever. But remember, you're a Carter. Your father and I made sure you'd have the tools to fight back. The house, the trust fund, your future, they're yours to protect now. Don't let the grief blind you. Don't let revenge consume you. Build something better from these ashes. I'm sorry I couldn't stay longer. But you don't need me anymore. You never did. All my love, Grandpa Thomas. The paper blurs as tears fall. Behind me, I hear Mother's voice rising. Henry's attempts to control the situation. Olivia's dramatic sobs. Their perfect world is shattering, and I should feel victorious. Instead, I feel hollow, empty. Grandpa's gone, really gone. And tomorrow, Mother will marry Henry in some hastily arranged venue, and I'll go home to an empty house full of ghosts. I fold the letter carefully, tucking it away with my college acceptance. 3 months until I'm 18. 3 months to hold everything together. 3 months to prove Grandpa right, that I'm stronger than the grief, bigger than the revenge, worthy of the legacy they left me. But right now, watching the autumn leaves dance across my grandfather's grave, I've never felt more alone. The key still works in the front door lock, though Mother changed everything else about our home during my 3 weeks away. I step inside, breathing in the unfamiliar scent of expensive candles and new furniture. The house feels wrong, like a stage set pretending to be something it's not. My footsteps echo on hardwood floors that once held Dad's favorite rugs. In the living room, family photos have been replaced by abstract art. Only one remains. Mother and Henry's wedding portrait, prominently displayed where Dad's graduation photo used to hang. Morgan? Mother's voice carries from upstairs. Is that you? I don't answer, moving instead toward the basement door. My childhood sits in boxes down there, waiting to be reclaimed. But the door is locked, new deadbolt, freshly installed. Looking for something? Olivia appears at the top of the stairs, twirling a key ring. Daddy changed the locks after you tried to stop the wedding, for security. This is still my house. Is it? She descends slowly, each step deliberate, because it looks like our house now. Mother and Daddy made sure of that. Your mother? The words taste like poison. Well, she's not exactly yours anymore, is she? Her smile is razor sharp. Not since you tried to ruin everything at the funeral. Mother appears behind her, elegant as always in designer clothes that Dad's insurance money probably bought. Morgan, we need to talk about your behavior. This rebellion has gone far enough. Rebellion? I pull out the court documents. My trump card? The one Grandpa Thomas prepared? You mean legally protecting what's mine? What's yours? Mother's composure cracks. I raised you. I sacrificed everything. You sacrificed Dad's memory, his wishes, my future. Your future? She laughs, brittle and sharp. A photography degree? Thomas filled your head with nonsense about following your dreams, but dreams don't pay bills. No. Henry's voice joins in as he enters through the front door. But trust funds do. The ones you tried to access last week, Grace. Mother freezes. Even Olivia looks surprised. What? I turn to Henry. What did she do? Attempted to transfer the funds before the court order took effect. He sets his briefcase down, looking tired. It didn't work. You promised you'd handle it, Mother hisses at him. You said... I said I'd try. He loosens his tie. But Thomas was thorough. Every attempt triggered notifications to the lawyers. The truth hits like a physical blow. You married him to get access to my trust fund. I married him because we needed security. Mother's careful mask shatters completely. Your father left us with nothing but a house we can't sell and dreams we can't afford. He left us everything that mattered. Matter? She grabs a wedding photo, throws it at my feet. The glass shatters. This matters. Status, security, a real future, not some fantasy about following in his footsteps. I step over the broken glass, moving toward the stairs. I'm taking my things from the basement. There's nothing down there. Olivia's smirk returns. We had it cleared out last week. Professional junk removal. The world stops. What? It was time to let go. Mother's voice turns soothing, reasonable. Start fresh. Henry's interior decorator is coming tomorrow to... I don't hear the rest. I'm already moving, running up to my old room, Olivia's room now. But in the back of my closet, behind her designer clothes, I find it. Dad's old camera bag, hidden where I stashed it years ago. Inside, wrapped in his favorite shirt, is a sealed envelope. One final message from Grandpa Thomas, hidden where he knew I'd look. Touch that and I'll call the police. Mother stands in the doorway. That's Olivia's closet now. I open the envelope. Inside is a key and a note. Storage unit 247. Everything that matters is waiting. They can't take what they can't find. The laugh bubbles up before I can stop it. Even now, they're still protecting me. Still one step ahead. You can keep the house, I tell Mother, tucking the key away. For now, but in 3 months, when I turn 18, I want you gone, all of you. You can't, I can. I will. I shoulder past her, past Olivia's shocked face and Henry's calculating stare. Dad and Grandpa made sure of that. At the front door, I pause. Oh, and Mother, check your prenup carefully. I'm not the only one they were protecting me from. I leave them there, surrounded by their perfect new life built on hollow foundations. In my pocket, the storage unit key feels like a promise. Some things, it turns out, they couldn't erase after all. The house key feels different in my hand now. Heavier, like it knows things have changed. I unlock the front door of what was once Mother's perfect showcase home, now emptied of her designer furniture and Henry's corporate art. Only the echoes remain. My footsteps carry me through rooms that hold more ghosts than memories. In the kitchen, where Dad taught me to make his famous pancakes. The living room, where Grandpa Thomas graded papers in his favorite chair. My old bedroom, now stripped of Olivia's presence, waiting to become something new. The moving truck arrives at 9. 2 men with clipboards and careful hands, ready to pack away the last traces of Mother's carefully curated life. She left last week after the divorce papers arrived, Henry's final surprise. Turns out he had secrets of his own, ones that made Mother's schemes look amateur. I find her note in the study, placed carefully on Dad's old desk, the one piece of furniture she never dared remove. Morgan, some dreams cost too much. I understand that now. Take care of his house. It was always more yours than mine. Mother. No apology, no explanation. Just acceptance, finally, of what she lost in trying to gain something else. The storage unit key burns in my pocket, the one that led me to everything she tried to erase. Dad's photos, family albums, the vintage camera collection he started when I was 5. All safe, all waiting, all proof that some things can't be buried. My phone buzzes. An email from the university housing office. Roommate assignment, class schedule. A future taking shape. One dad helped build before he left. One Grandpa Thomas protected until his last breath. Miss Carter? One of the movers appears in the doorway. Where would you like the furniture delivered? The women's shelter on 5th Street. I hand him the address. Everything except what's in the basement. He nods, doesn't ask questions. Maybe he's seen this before. Families splitting apart, pieces being redistributed like cosmic justice. The basement door opens easily now, no more locks keeping me from my past. Down here, I've rebuilt what Mother tried to destroy. Dad's dark room, restored with equipment from his old studio. Grandpa's research desk, rescued from university storage. My future, taking shape in the foundations they left me. A final envelope waits on the desk. Different handwriting this time. Henry's. Inside, a cashier's check and a brief note. For your first year, not because I owe you, but because your father would have done the same for Olivia. Some debts can't be measured in dollars. H. The check trembles in my hands. Revenge would be easy. Tear it up, send it back, reject this final attempt at, what, redemption, manipulation, understanding? But Dad's voice echoes in my head. The best revenge is living well. I tuck the check away, not accepting, not rejecting, just acknowledging that even in the darkest stories, light finds ways to seep through. Upstairs, the movers finish their work. The house creaks, adjusting to its new emptiness. But it's not empty, not really. It's waiting. Like it waited for Dad when he first bought it. Like it waited for me while Mother tried to remake it in her image. In the kitchen, I pin a new photo to the refrigerator, one I took at Grandpa's favorite spot in the park. The morning light catches 3 generations of smiles. Dad holding my first camera, Grandpa Thomas with his books, me between them, looking forward. The real estate agent arrives at noon, rental agreement in hand. A young family, she says. Parents who want their kids to grow up in a home with history. They'll take good care of the place while I'm at college. I sign the papers on Dad's desk, using Grandpa's favorite pen. Outside, the moving truck pulls away, carrying Mother's perfect life to people who need it more than she did. My phone buzzes again. The coffee shop where I worked, offering my old job back for the summer. Sarah's name on the message makes me smile. Some anchors hold, even when everything else breaks free. I lock the front door one last time, but I keep the key. Not because I need it anymore, but because it reminds me of what Dad always said. Home isn't where you live, Morgan. It's what lives in you. The morning sun catches the brass key, making it shine like a promise kept.
The numbers jumped out at me from the bank statement like accusatory fingers. $20,000 transferred to an account I didn't recognize. Then another $15,000 2 weeks later. My hands trembled as I scrolled through my parents' online banking history, each new discovery hitting harder than the last. I'm Hope, and I just found out my golden boy brother is bleeding our parents dry. Everything okay, sweetie? My mother's voice floated up from downstairs. The coffee's getting cold. Coming, I called back, my voice steadier than I felt. I minimized the browser window, muscle memory from years of hiding things from my family. Not my secrets this time, Lucas's. The Sunday morning ritual at my parents' house hadn't changed in 20 years. Coffee, pastries, and endless conversations about Lucas's latest ventures. His football glory days. His business ideas. His perfect life with his perfect wife and perfect kid. I descended the stairs, each step heavy with the weight of what I'd discovered. Mom stood at the kitchen counter, arranging Danish pastries on her grandmother's china plate. Dad sat at the table, hidden behind his newspaper. Lucas called earlier, Mom said, beaming. He's finalizing that big deal he was telling us about. Isn't it exciting? The coffee turned bitter in my mouth. What kind of deal? Oh, you know your brother. She waved her hand dismissively. Always thinking big. He just needed to move some money around temporarily. Your father and I are happy to help. Dad lowered his paper slightly. Karen, maybe we shouldn't. Tom, he's our son. Of course we help. Her tone carried that familiar edge, the one that shut down any questioning of Lucas's choices. I gripped my coffee mug tighter. How much did he need? Just a small loan. Mom's smile flickered. Nothing for you to worry about. $50,000 isn't small, Mom.
The silence that followed was deafening. Dad's newspaper crinkled as it lowered completely. How do you know that amount? Mom's voice had gone sharp. Because I saw the transfers. I saw them because I was helping Dad set up automatic bill payments, remember? The ones Lucas was supposed to handle months ago. You had no right to look at our private banking information. Mom's face flushed red. Someone had to. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. He's taking advantage of you both, and you're letting him. Your brother is building something important, Mom snapped. Sometimes businesses need capital. His last 3 businesses failed, Mom. The gym, the protein shake company, the sports app. Where did all that investment money go? Dad cleared his throat. Hope, maybe this isn't the time. When is the time, Dad? When they're broke. When Lucas has drained their retirement fund. That's enough. Mom slammed her hand on the counter. I won't sit here and listen to you attack your brother out of jealousy. The word hit like a slap. Jealousy. Their eternal explanation for any criticism I ever had of Lucas. Fine. I pulled out my phone and pulled up the banking app. Let me show you exactly what your precious son has been doing with your money. Mom turned away. I don't need to see anything. I trust Lucas. That's the problem. I looked at Dad, pleading, you have to see this. Please. He met my eyes for a moment, then looked away. Your mother's right, Hope. Lucas wouldn't. Unbelievable. I grabbed my purse. You know what? Keep burying your heads in the sand. But don't come crying to me when you're working at Walmart in your 70s because your retirement fund mysteriously disappeared. I stormed out, slamming the door behind me. In my car, I sat gripping the steering wheel, my knuckles white. My phone buzzed, a text from Lucas. Stay out of my business, little sister. You have no idea what you're getting into. I stared at the message, a cold smile spreading across my face. Oh, brother dear, you have no idea what I'm capable of. This isn't about jealousy anymore. This is about justice. And I'm just getting started. Nina's apartment always smelled like lavender and coffee, a combination that usually calmed my nerves. Not tonight. I paced her living room, clutching my phone with Lucas's threatening text still displayed. He's really done it this time, Nina said, curled up on her couch. Have you talked to Ella? Lucas's perfect wife? She probably helped him plan it. I stopped pacing, remembering something. Although what? Last month at Tommy's birthday party, she seemed off. Kept checking her phone, barely touched her food. When Lucas started bragging about his new business venture, she practically flinched. Nina leaned forward. You think she knows? Before I could answer, my phone rang. Dad's name flashed on the screen. I answered on speaker. Hope, your mother and I discussed it, and we're having a family dinner tomorrow night. Lucas will be there. We need to clear the air. My stomach clenched. Clear the air? Or gang up on me? That's not fair. His voice carried that familiar note of defeat. We're trying to keep this family together. By letting Lucas steal from you? It's not stealing when we agreed to help him. Mom's voice cut in. She'd been listening the whole time. You're coming to dinner. 7 o'clock sharp. The line went dead. Nina raised an eyebrow. Perfect, I said, a plan forming. I'll bring proof. The next evening, I arrived at my parents' house armed with bank statements and screenshots. Lucas's car already occupied the driveway, his precious Mercedes that probably cost another chunk of our parents' savings. Inside, the tension was thick enough to choke on. Mom busied herself in the kitchen, Dad helped set the table, and Lucas sat in his usual spot, looking smug. Ella stood by the window, bouncing their son Tommy on her hip. Hope, Lucas said, his smile not reaching his eyes. Good to see you're still concerned about my finances. Someone has to be. I dropped my bag beside my chair. Since you're clearly not. Children, Mom warned from the kitchen. Not in front of Tommy. Ella suddenly spoke up. I should put him to bed upstairs. It's past his bedtime anyway. As she passed me, her eyes met mine for a split second. Something in her expression made me pause. Fear? So, Lucas said once Ella was gone. Let's hear it. What horrible accusations are you bringing to dinner? I pulled out the bank statements. These transfers, for starters. $50,000 in 2 weeks? That's just the beginning, isn't it? I told Mom and Dad about those transfers. He leaned back, relaxed. They're investments in my new tech startup. Everything's properly documented. Really? I slid another paper across the table. Because I called the bank. That account number you transferred to? It's a personal account in the Cayman Islands. The color drained from Lucas's face. Mom set down a casserole dish with enough force to rattle the plates. Hope, that's enough. How dare you investigate your brother like some kind of criminal? Because he is one. I stood up, hands shaking. He's not investing anything. He's stealing their retirement money and hiding it offshore. And I bet Ella has no idea. Leave my wife out of this, Lucas snarled, standing too. Why? Afraid she'll find out where the money's really going. A crash from upstairs made us all freeze. Ella appeared at the top of the stairs, white-faced. Tommy's fine, he just knocked over a lamp, but... She held up her phone. Lucas, why is there an email about plane tickets to Buenos Aires? The silence that followed was deafening. Lucas's face transformed from anger to something I'd never seen before, pure panic. Ella, honey, I can explain. Explain what? I cut in. How you're planning to disappear with our parents' money. Dad finally spoke, his voice barely a whisper. Lucas, tell me this isn't true. But Lucas was already backing toward the door, his mask completely shattered. You don't understand. None of you understand what it's like trying to live up to everyone's expectations. I just needed a fresh start. With stolen money? Ella's voice cracked. Were you going to tell me about Argentina, or just disappear with our son? Mom sank into a chair, her world visibly crumbling. And in that moment, watching my perfect brother's life implode, I felt no satisfaction, only a hollow ache for what our family had become. Lucas bolted for the door. But this time, running away wouldn't save him. I had more evidence, and now I had something even more valuable, Ella's attention. The real war was just beginning. Grandpa Henry's bookstore always smelled like old paper and pipe tobacco, even though he'd quit smoking years ago. I found him in his usual spot, perched on a wooden stool behind the counter, examining an ancient ledger through his reading glasses. I need your help, I said, dropping a thick manila folder on the counter. He looked up, eyes sharp despite his age. This about Lucas? You knew. I've watched that boy take advantage of this family for years. He closed his ledger. Your grandmother would have seen right through him. She always said Lucas had your Uncle Richard's eyes, beautiful but dangerous. I spread out the documents I'd gathered. Bank statements, failed business records, loan applications. A pattern emerged, each venture more desperate than the last. Look at this. I pointed to a document. He took out his second mortgage on his house without telling Ella. And here, he's been lying about his company's revenue to get more loans. Grandpa Henry studied the papers, his expression darkening. There's more, isn't there? I hired a private investigator. I pulled out another document. Lucas has gambling debts. Big ones. The kind that attract dangerous people. The bell above the door chimed. Ella walked in, Tommy balanced on her hip. Her eyes were red-rimmed. I thought I'd find you here, she said. Lucas came home last night. He's saying you fabricated everything. Did he explain the plane tickets? She shifted Tommy to her other hip. He says it was a business trip he was planning. That you're twisting everything because you're jealous. Jealous. I laughed, the sound harsh even to my ears. Show her, Grandpa. He handed Ella the mortgage document. Her hands trembled as she read it. This can't be right, she whispered. We agreed no major financial decisions without consulting each other. There's more. I hesitated, then pulled out the gambling records. He owes people money, Ella. Dangerous people. The color drained from her face. How much? Over 200,000. Tommy started fussing. Grandpa Henry quickly produced a cookie from behind the counter. He'd always kept treats for young visitors. I should have seen it, Ella said, watching Tommy nibble the cookie. The late-night phone calls. The way he'd jump whenever his phone buzzed. Last week, I found him in our home office at 3 a.m, shredding documents. The bell chimed again. My mother burst in, face flushed with anger. Hope, what have you done? She demanded. Lucas is talking about leaving town because of your accusations. He says you're trying to destroy him. Karen, Grandpa Henry's voice carried a warning. Before you defend your son, you might want to see these. I don't need to see anything. You've always taken Hope's side. Mom. Ella's voice cut through the tension. Look at the documents. Please. For Tommy's sake. Something in Ella's tone made Mom pause. She took the papers with obvious reluctance. As she read, her hands began to shake. This must be a mistake. Lucas wouldn't. He already has, I said quietly. And if we don't stop him, he's going to drag this whole family down with him. The sound of screeching tires outside made us all jump. Through the store's front window, I saw Lucas's Mercedes pull up sharply. He followed me, Ella whispered, clutching Tommy closer. Lucas burst through the door, his usual polished appearance disheveled. His eyes landed on the documents spread across the counter. You just couldn't leave it alone, could you? He snarled at me. Had to play detective, had to ruin everything. You ruined it yourself, Grandpa Henry stood, his voice stern. Now step back from my granddaughter. Lucas's phone buzzed. He checked it, and for a moment, raw fear flashed across his face. You don't understand, he said, his voice cracking. These people, they want their money by midnight. All of it. If I don't pay, then what? I challenged. More theft? More lies? Or were you planning to run and leave Ella and Tommy to deal with your mess? The look in his eyes told me everything. My perfect brother, the golden child, was finally out of options. And for the first time in our lives, I held all the cards. The lawyer's office felt too small for the weight of what I was about to do. Papers scattered across his desk, affidavits, bank records, and a restraining order application that made my stomach turn. Once we file these, Mr. Patterson said, tapping the documents, there's no going back. Your brother could face serious charges. My phone buzzed again, the 15th call from Mom in 2 hours. I silenced it without looking. What about my parents' money? We can freeze the accounts immediately, but he hesitated. There's something else you should see. He slid a document across the desk. A deed transfer, dated 3 days ago. My parents' house, their home of 30 years, now belonged to one of Lucas's shell companies. The room tilted sideways. They don't know, do they? Based on these signatures. He adjusted his glasses. I'm almost certain they're forged. A knock at the door made us both jump. Dad stood there, looking older than I'd ever seen him. Hope. His voice cracked. We need to talk. Mr. Patterson gathered the papers. I'll give you two a moment. Once we were alone, Dad collapsed into the vacant chair. Your mother doesn't know I'm here. Did Lucas tell you about the house? His blank expression answered my question. Why are you here, Dad? He pulled out an old envelope, yellowed with age. I found this in your grandmother's things after she died. She made me promise to keep it safe. His hands shook as he opened it. It's about Lucas. Inside was a DNA test from 28 years ago. My heart stopped as I read the results. Lucas isn't yours? Your mother had an affair with Richard, my brother. The star athlete, the golden boy. He laughed bitterly. I've spent 28 years trying to love a son who reminded me every day of my brother's betrayal. Does Lucas know? No, but I think he sensed it somehow. The way I could never quite. He trailed off, staring at his hands. Why tell me now? Because I'm done protecting other people's lies. He straightened up. I want to sign whatever papers you need. It's time someone in this family stood up for what's right. My phone buzzed again, this time a text from Ella. Lucas is gone. Took everything from our accounts. Police are here. Before I could respond, another text came through, this one from Lucas himself. You want to play hardball, little sister? Fine. Tell Mom and Dad to check their retirement accounts. All of them. My hands trembled as I pulled up the banking app. Every account, empty. He's cleaned them out, I whispered. Everything. Dad's face hardened. Call your lawyer back in. Wait. I stared at Lucas's text. Something felt off. He's trying to scare us into backing down. But why now? I dialed Nina. Remember that background check you ran on Lucas's new business partner? The one who doesn't exist? Yeah, why? I need you to check something else. Look for any recent property purchases under his name. I heard keyboard clicks, then a sharp intake of breath. Hope, he bought a plane ticket. Private charter. Tonight. Where to? Venezuela. No extradition treaty. Dad was already on his feet. I'm calling the police. No. I grabbed his arm. If we spook him now, he'll run immediately. We need to play this smart. I turned back to the lawyer's documents. How quickly can we freeze everything? With your father's signature? Within the hour. I met Dad's eyes. Are you sure about this? Mom will never forgive you. Your mother's forgiveness stopped mattering the moment she chose Lucas's lies over our family's future. He picked up the pen. Do it. As he signed the papers, I felt the weight of 24 years of being the overlooked child, the second best, the afterthought. But now, watching my father finally choose truth over comfort, I realized this wasn't about revenge anymore. This was about justice. And sometimes justice means burning everything down to save what matters most. I pulled out my phone and dialed one last number. Ella? Get Tommy and pack a bag. I know where Lucas is going, and I need your help to stop him. The private airfield sprawled before us, dark except for the runway lights cutting through the fog. Ella clutched Tommy to her chest in the passenger seat while Nina worked her laptop in the back. His flight's scheduled for midnight, Nina said. We have 40 minutes. My phone lit up with Mom's face. After 3 days of silence, she was calling now. I answered on speaker. Where are you? Her voice cracked. Lucas just called. He's saying terrible things about your father, about some DNA test. Is it true? I kept my eyes on the airfield's entrance. About Uncle Richard? The silence stretched too long. We need to talk about this as a family. Like we talked about Lucas stealing your retirement? Or forging your signatures? Or, he's your brother. No. The word felt like glass in my throat. Apparently he's not. A security guard approached our car. I flashed Ella's ID. She'd called ahead, playing the dutiful wife one last time. You don't understand, Mom continued. Lucas is in trouble. Real trouble. There are men looking for him. Dangerous people. I know about the gambling debts. No, it's worse. Her voice dropped. They're saying he laundered money for them. If he doesn't deliver tonight. Headlights swept across the parking lot. A black SUV pulled up near the private hangar. I have to go. I hung up as 2 men in dark suits emerged from the SUV. They didn't move like businessmen. Those aren't debt collectors, Nina whispered. Hope, what are we doing here? My phone buzzed with a text from Lucas. If you're here to stop me, don't. These people will kill me if I don't deliver. Take Tommy, Ella said suddenly, passing her son to Nina. I'm going to talk to him. Ella, wait. But she was already out of the car, walking toward the hangar. I followed, my heart hammering. Lucas stepped out of the shadows, looking haunted. The men in suits tensed. It's just my wife, Lucas called to them. And my sister. 10 minutes, one man growled. Then we leave with or without the money. Ella reached Lucas first. You were going to leave us? I was going to send for you. His eyes darted between us. Once I figured things out. You mean once you laundered their money? I stepped closer. That's what this is about, isn't it? Your new business partner, he's with them. I didn't have a choice. They threatened Tommy. Don't you dare, Ella hissed. Don't use our son to justify this. A car door slammed behind us. Dad emerged from the darkness, followed by Grandpa Henry. Hope texted me your location, Grandpa said, his voice steel. Did you really think we'd let you run? Lucas backed away. You don't understand. If I don't get on that plane, then what? Dad stepped forward. More lies? More theft? When does it end, Lucas? When I'm dead? Lucas laughed, a hollow sound. Is that what you want? Dad? Or should I even call you that? The suited men moved closer. Time's up. Wait. I pulled out my phone, opened a banking app. I can transfer the money. Right now. Everyone froze. Hope, don't, Dad warned. It's my trust fund. I met Lucas's eyes. The one Grandma left me. The one you couldn't touch. Why would you? Lucas started. Because I'm giving you a choice. My finger hovered over the transfer button. Take the money, get on that plane. But if you do, you never contact this family again. You never threaten Ella or Tommy. You disappear completely. Or stay. Face what you've done. Let us help you the right way, with lawyers, with protection. But no more lies. The suited men shifted impatiently. Lucas looked at Ella, at Tommy in the car, then at the plane waiting in the darkness. Time to choose, brother. I held up my phone. Who are you really running from? The fog thickened around us as Lucas stared at the screen, his face reflecting the harsh glow of numbers that could buy his freedom or seal his fate. The police station's fluorescent lights made everything look sickly and unreal. I sat in the hard plastic chair, watching through one-way glass as Lucas talked to the detectives. Mom paced behind me, while Dad and Grandpa Henry sat silently in the corner. He's going to prison, Mom whispered. My baby is going to prison, and it's your fault. I didn't respond. My trust fund was gone, transferred to an account that would help Lucas make restitution. The money that was supposed to be my fresh start, my escape, now belonged to his victims. Detective Martinez stepped out of the interrogation room. Your brother's naming names. Big ones. The kind that make people disappear. So what happens now? Dad asked. Witness protection, probably. For all of you. Mom collapsed into a chair. All of us. These people he worked with, they don't leave loose ends. Martinez's face hardened. They've already made threats against Tommy. Ella burst through the door, face streaked with tears. They took him. They took my baby. The room exploded into chaos. Martinez barked orders into his radio while Mom screamed and Dad tried to calm Ella down. When? I grabbed Ella's shoulders. Where? The babysitter. She said 2 men came with papers, said they were from child services. Ella's voice cracked. I called the agency. They never sent anyone. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Your brother's testimony for the kid. 1 hour. Come alone. I showed Martinez the text. He shook his head. We can't let you. It's my nephew. I stood up. And my mess to fix. Hope, Grandpa Henry caught my arm. This isn't your fault. But it was. I'd pushed Lucas into a corner, forced his hand. In my quest for justice, I'd put a child in danger. I have a plan. I looked at Martinez. But I need your help. 40 minutes later, I stood in the empty parking garage from the text, my heart thundering against my ribs. A black car pulled up, its windows tinted. A man stepped out, the same suit from the airfield. Where's Lucas? Where's Tommy? He nodded to the car. The back window lowered slightly, enough to see Tommy's sleeping face. Sedated, the man said. He'll wake up fine if you deliver. I need proof he's really okay. You're not calling the shots here. No. I pulled out my phone. Then I'll tell the FBI task force that's watching us right now to move in. Your choice. The man's face tightened. He opened the car door, revealing Tommy strapped into a car seat. I stepped forward, checking his breathing. Steady. Relief flooded through me. Happy? Now, where's Lucas? I straightened up. He's not coming. The man's gun appeared so fast I barely saw him move. That wasn't the deal. No, but this is. I held up my phone, showing him the live stream that had been running since I arrived. Say hi to your followers. All 100,000 of them. His eyes widened as he saw the viewer count climbing. Amazing what a viral post about kidnapping can do. #SaveTommy is trending. I took another step forward. The whole city is watching. Police are probably already on their way. So here's my counteroffer. Leave Tommy, walk away, and this video doesn't include your face. You stupid bit. Police sirens wailed in the distance. The man's head snapped toward the sound. Tick-tock, I said. He backed toward his car. This isn't over. Yes, it is. Because if anything happens to my family, any of them, this video shows exactly who to blame. He peeled out of the garage just as police cars swarmed the entrance. I grabbed Tommy from the car seat, holding him close as Martinez's team surrounded us. Targets fleeing north, Martinez barked into his radio. You okay? I nodded, watching Mom and Ella run toward us. But over their shoulders, I caught Lucas's eyes through the window of a police car. His face showed something I'd never seen before, respect. But it didn't matter anymore. I'd won, but the victory felt hollow. My family was fractured, possibly beyond repair. And somewhere in the city, dangerous men were plotting revenge. The war wasn't over. It was just changing battlefields. The safe house felt like a cage. 3 weeks of protective custody had worn us all down. Mom barely spoke, Dad buried himself in paperwork, and Ella spent hours staring out windows, Tommy clutched to her chest. Martinez arrived at sunset, his face grim. We found them. The whole operation. But what? He handed me a phone. Lucas wants to talk to you. Only you. I stepped onto the back porch, away from the family's prying eyes. What do you want? They're going to kill me. Lucas's voice shook. The FBI raid missed some people. Important people. They think I'm the leak. Aren't you? Not the original one. He paused. Hope, I need to show you something. Something that changes everything. No meetings, Martinez said. It's about Dad. And Uncle Richard. And why Mom always protected me. His voice dropped. There's so much you don't know. The line went dead. A text followed with an address, the old high school football field where Lucas had been king. Martinez caught me at the door. You're not going. I showed him the text. You can watch from a distance. But he'll only talk to me. It's a trap. Probably. I grabbed my keys. But I need to know the truth. The football field was dark except for one set of lights illuminating the 50-yard line. Lucas stood there, looking small against the empty bleachers. I'm here, I called out. Talk. He turned, holding a manila envelope. Did you ever wonder why Mom couldn't let me fail? Why she pushed so hard? Because you were her golden boy. Because I was her shame. He pulled out old letters. Richard wasn't just Dad's brother. He was Mom's first love. The star athlete she was supposed to marry. Until his accident. Until she got pregnant with me. The accident happened after, when Richard found out she'd chosen Dad instead. My head spun. Why are you telling me this now? Because Mom's not just protecting me. She's protecting herself. Her guilt, her choices. He laughed bitterly. I was never supposed to be the good son. I was her penance. Movement in the shadows caught my eye. Men in dark clothes, moving closer. You brought them here. They followed me. His hands trembled. I'm sorry, Hope. They said they'd kill Ella and Tommy if I didn't. Bring the other leak? A new voice cut through the darkness. The man from the parking garage stepped into the light. We've been watching you, Hope. Your little livestream stunt cost us millions. More men emerged, forming a circle around us. Martinez and his team were nowhere in sight. You know what's funny? The man continued. Lucas here wasn't the leak. Your mother was. Lucas's head snapped up. What? Karen's been feeding information to the FBI for months. Trying to save her precious son. He raised his gun. Too bad she was too late. You're lying, Lucas whispered. Ask her yourself. Oh, wait. The man smiled. You won't get the chance. Time slowed. I saw his finger tighten on the trigger. Saw Lucas step forward, maybe to run, maybe to fight. Then the night exploded with light and sound. FBI, don't move. Spotlights flooded the field. Agents rappelled from the bleachers. Martinez's voice boomed through a megaphone. I dove for Lucas as gunfire erupted. We hit the turf hard. Mom really was trying to save you, I gasped. All this time. Lucas gripped my arm, eyes wide. Hope More shots. A bullet kicked up grass near our heads. Shut up and crawl, I hissed, pulling him toward the sideline. As we reached safety behind a SWAT van, Lucas looked at me differently, not with his usual condescension or recent fear, but with something like awe. You knew they'd follow me, he said. You used me as bait. I learned from the best. I checked him for wounds. Ready to tell the whole truth now? He nodded slowly, watching as agents led the captured men away. Think Mom will ever forgive us? Maybe. I helped him up. But first, we have to forgive her. Grandpa Henry's bookstore smelled different now, fresh paint mixed with the familiar scent of old paper. I straightened the grand reopening banner while he arranged books in the newly restored shelves. Your grandmother would have loved this, he said, adjusting his glasses. Using your settlement money to save her store. Our store, I corrected. Besides, blood money should go to something good. The criminal case had ended with plea deals and asset seizures. The crime syndicate crumbled, its leaders scattered or imprisoned. Our family's share of the recovered funds came with strings attached to therapy, supervision, accountability. The bell chimed. Lucas stepped in, looking smaller in his court-mandated monitoring anklet. Need help with those boxes? I nodded toward the back room. As he passed, I caught Mom watching through the window, hesitating at the door. Dad stood behind her, his hand on her shoulder. They'll come in when they're ready, Grandpa Henry said softly. Lucas returned with a stack of books. Where do you want these? Fiction section. Under R for redemption. He almost smiled. Subtle. Learned from the best. I handed him another box. How's the counseling going? Better than prison. He shelved books carefully, methodically. Ella's thinking about letting me have supervised visits with Tommy. Good. Hope. He paused, a book half-shelved. I've been trying to figure out when it all went wrong. Not the money or the lies, but us. When did I stop being your brother and start being your enemy? Maybe when I stopped being your sister and became your competition. The bell chimed again. Mom finally stepped inside, Dad close behind. She looked around the restored store, tears in her eyes. Your grandmother's first edition collection, she whispered, touching the glass display case. You found them? In the attic, Grandpa Henry said. Where you hid them when the creditors came for Richard's debts. Mom's hand trembled. I was trying to protect everyone. By lying, Dad's voice was gentle but firm. Or by making Lucas into something he wasn't? Both. She turned to Lucas. I thought if I could make you perfect, it would erase my mistakes. Instead, I just repeated them. Lucas stepped toward her, then stopped, uncertain. I moved between them, taking Mom's hand and placing it in Lucas's. Perfect is overrated, I said. Try honest instead. The door chimed one last time. Nina walked in with Tommy, returning from their ice cream run. The toddler squealed at the sight of Lucas, but stayed by Nina's side, still cautious around his father. Hey, champ, Lucas said softly. Want to help me put some books away? Tommy looked at Nina, who nodded. He took a tentative step toward Lucas. I turned away, giving them space, and found Dad studying the old family photos on the wall, Mom and Uncle Richard as teenagers, Grandma and Grandpa on their wedding day, Lucas and me as kids. I should have protected you both, he said. From Karen's guilt, from Richard's shadow, from my own cowardice. We protect ourselves now. I straightened a crooked frame. And maybe each other when we can. Speaking of protection, Grandpa Henry called from the counter, these books won't shelve themselves. Family project? One by one, they moved toward the boxes, Mom and Dad, Lucas with Tommy trailing behind, Nina grabbing the lighter loads. We worked in comfortable silence, finding our rhythms, respecting our spaces. I watched them from the ladder as I stalked the top shelves. My family, broken and healing, learning to exist in the truth rather than perfect lies. The revenge I'd sought had transformed into something else, not forgiveness exactly, but understanding. The last book in my hand was Grandma's favorite, worn and dog-eared. Inside the cover, her handwriting, the truth may hurt, but lies leave scars. I placed it carefully on the shelf, between the past we couldn't change and the future we'd have to build. Some stories end with perfect resolution, with all wounds healed and all sins forgiven. This wasn't one of them. But maybe that made it more true.